Hi, welcome to our virtual open house. I'm Kate Harb.
I'm Lee Middlecoff.
So this is just a little bit about our department. We both teach grade 6th, 7th, and 8th. And this year students have art every other day for a trimester. We really believe that all children are artists. We really care about kids like doing their best work and really being open to trying new techniques and learning about new materials. And sometimes we do some collaborative projects. We'll be meeting all district competencies as well as the state and national standards using a wide variety of art materials like clay, paint, and drawing.
So one of the main things we want to achieve this year again is communication. So if a student's absent or if they're curious about what we're going to be doing for the next class, they can always look at Google Classroom. Power School will always have the updated grades for the students if you want to see how they're doing in a class, if you want to see their progress. Power School will be a good source for that. And as always, if anybody has any questions, whether it's your student or whether it's you yourself, feel free to email us. The email address is our first full name and last name. So it's Kathleen Harb at timberlane.net and Lee.Middlecoff at timberlane.net.
Thank you so much for watching, and please reach out and contact us whenever you need to.
Thanks. We look forward to seeing your students this year. Have a good day.
Hi, I'm Sarah Troljan.
And I'm Stacy Mulhall, and we are the Family Consumer Science teachers here at the Timberlane Regional Middle School. In my curriculum in 6th grade, I teach about nutrition, which covers the 5 food groups and label reading. In 7th grade, I cover child development, which is a types of development for children and also a babysitting course. And in 7th to 8th grade, I teach consumer education, which is dealing with careers and college opportunities and financial literacy.
In my curriculum, we get to experience cooking all 3 years. In 6th grade, students get to learn the cooking basics like measuring and reading a recipe, as well as kitchen safety. In 7th grade, we get more hands-on with our cooking terms and get to accomplish a few cooking labs. And in 8th grade, they apply the information from the past 2 years to create a food truck project where they select a theme that connects to a current class they're taking, create a menu, and then develop one of the menu items in our cooking lab.
Please feel free to reach out to the 2 of us at any point in time during the school year, and we look forward to having your children this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to our 6th grade open house for health. I am Mrs. Hogan, and I am your 6th grade student's health teacher. Our curriculum consists of work that we have done between the kindergarten through 12th grade curriculum developed by the Timberlane Elementary, Middle School, and High School health teachers. It is a combination of both social and emotional health and a skills-based health education model. Your children have already completed our first unit, completing our first unit, I should say, on health and wellness. This is the health triangle that we introduced in 6th grade, and we carry on through 7th and 8th grade. It is the 3 important areas of health, not just physical, but our mental and emotional, and our social. We also talk about the influences around us that affect our health triangle, whether it be from friends, family, or media. So we're just finishing up our health triangle projects, and we will be moving on to our self-concept unit, which includes self-esteem, self-image, and your ideal self. We're working on how to improve those so that we are much more confident in ourselves and we like ourselves for who we are. And if we do like ourselves and we have more confidence, then we are less likely to go in the wrong direction and maybe use alcohol or drugs. After that, we'll be working on communication skills and social skills and bullying and friendship. And our skills are skills-based, where we actually learn how to communicate with one another and we practice it. And our social skills, learning how to have conversations and doing role modeling and practicing those as well. Are we good friends? Do we bully each other? Are we mean? We'll talk about all of those things in this unit. And we talk about refusal skills. How do we say no and still be able to keep our friends but stay out of trouble? Or decide that maybe we shouldn't keep those friends if they're going to lead us in the wrong direction. Another skills-based unit. After that, we talk about healthy decisions. What decisions are we using to stay away from drugs and alcohol? What decisions do we make every day when it comes to eating and self-care and hygiene? So healthy decision-making skills. We break down how to make decisions. And then we're going to be talking about some drugs, alcohol, nicotine, vaping, other drugs, including prescription drugs, and how they affect our body and our mind and our relationships. And then everybody's favorite topic, puberty. We kind of touch upon different areas of puberty, just how our bodies are changing and what happens in the next 3 years during puberty, and how adolescence kicks in before our teen years. So that's what we'll be talking about with puberty. All of our classwork is put on Google Classroom. So if you are home and can't get to school, you can still keep up with the work if you go onto Google Classroom. The homework is on there as well. I expect that if you are sick one day and I post homework, that you can at least, we have class every other day, so that you would at least look at your homework and do it for the next class. If you're out for an extended period of time, there will be work on the Google Classroom for you to check out. And your grades are on, all the grades are on PowerSchool. If you look at your child's grades and they're missing grades, maybe you can talk to them about what they need to do to catch up. So that's about what we do in our 6th grade health classes. I hope you feel free enough to call me if you have any reason to call, or send me an email. I am always available for a conference. And that's about it. So stay healthy, stay helpful, and stay calm. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is ML O'Sullivan, and I've been teaching and coaching here at TRMS for many years now. I'd like to share my screen with you today to tell you about my role as a 7th grade health teacher. So I teach 7th grade health and 6th and 8th grade PE. Mrs. Hogan and I are responsible for delivering timely, accurate, age-appropriate health education to students at TRMS. We both love to teach health, so we work together to make sure we present skills-based lessons that flow from grade to grade. So Mrs. Hogan teaches 6th and 8th grade health, and I teach 7th grade health. In 7th grade health, we begin with a review of the health triangle. This was first introduced to the kids in 6th grade, and it's a look at our physical, our emotional and mental, and also our social health. We learn what it means to be physically fit and to eat well. That means learning about the components of fitness, cardiovascular health, target heart rate, injury prevention, signs of concussion, the dangers of anabolic steroids, the importance of staying hydrated, looking at products that advertise better performance, eating for good health and high performance, and the pros and cons of eating fast food. With this information, we work on setting personal SMART goals for health and wellness. SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. We spend a lot of time in 7th grade health talking about safety, home safety, fire safety, planning an escape route, location of fire extinguishers, smoke detectors, CO detectors, recreational safety, safety on wheels, as a pedestrian, in water, on ice, and stranger danger. We talk about emergency preparedness for weather emergencies or any other unforeseen emergencies that may happen in our community. We talk about what should be in a first aid kit, what should be in a go bag in the case of a home evacuation. And we talk about medical emergencies. I go over basic first aid and CPR, and how to recognize the signs of heart attack, stroke, seizures, and anaphylactic shock. Throughout the safety unit, we talk about how to make a well thought out decision, and we use the DECIDE model of decision making. DECIDE stands for define the decision to be made, explore all options, consider the consequences, identify your values, decide and act, and evaluate the results. Grading in 7th grade health is a combination of classwork, projects, homework, written assignments, and participation. If you have any questions, concerns, or you want to know more about 7th grade health or 6th or 8th grade health or physical education, please contact me at mary.o'sullivan@timberlane.net. And I thank you for your time.
Hi, and welcome to 8th grade health. My name is Myra Hogan, and I am your child's health teacher. Our curriculum is based on a curriculum that we developed along with the Timberlane Elementary, Middle School, and High School teachers. It is a combination of both social and emotional health, and it's a skills-based educational model as well. It is an abstinence-based curriculum. We do talk when we first come in about the health triangle, health and wellness. We've been doing this in 6th and 7th grade. We do a brief review, and we continue on to coping skills. Coping skills is a really important unit, as it shows in some studies that a lot of teens who use drugs use it as an escape from things that are happening in their world. And if they were taught some coping skills, it is thought that perhaps they might use positive coping skills instead of negative coping skills like drugs and alcohol. From there, we do go into our drug and alcohol unit where we talk about vaping and alcohol, nicotine, and some other drugs. The kids do a drug project where they have a drug and they give the information and make a brochure with the information for their drug. We then talk about healthy and unhealthy relationships, whether it be friendship or romantic relationships, and what makes a healthy relationship and what makes an unhealthy relationship. From there, we go into growth and development. Our growth and development, again, is a abstinence-based program where we talk about a little bit more about puberty, and then we go into the reproductive systems, both male and female, pregnancy and childbirth. And from there, we talk about diseases, anxiety, depression, mental illnesses, so suicide being on that as well. And we also discuss STIs, sexually transmitted infections, and HIV and AIDS. And so the kids have some information on those diseases before they leave for high school. We do Google Classroom. Their classwork and homework is usually on Google Classroom. So if they're out for an extended period of time, we will post work that they can do at home. I oftentimes will post the work daily that we do, so that if they're out sick for even a day, they can keep up with it. The homework is posted on Google Classroom, and their grades are on Power School. If you check Power School on a regular basis, you'll notice if they're missing things, and if they need to catch up. So that's my 8th grade health curriculum. If you have any questions, please feel free to call me or always can email me at the middle school. Stay healthy and stay helpful and stay calm. Have a good school year. Bye-bye.
Hi everybody, my name is Emily Ciccarello. I am a music teacher here. I teach 7th grade world drumming, 6th grade general music, and also 8th grade guitar. So far we are having a lot of fun this year, and it's very exciting to be making music with your kids. They're doing an awesome job, and we're gonna have a great year.
Hello, Mr. Finch here, one of the music teachers here at Timberlane from grades 6 through 12. Excited to be here for my 5th year in a row. Timberlane is a great place to be. We offer lots of musical ensemble experiences as well as classroom or general music classes. If your son or daughter has me, chances are they have me in one of the following classes. 6th grade music, which would be bass clef changing voices. 6th grade chorus, 7th grade keyboard and drumming, 7th grade chorus, 8th grade guitar, or 8th grade chorus. If at any point in time you have any questions or concerns or want to know a little bit more about our music making experiences here at Timberlane, please don't hesitate to reach out. My email address is robert.finch@timberlane.net. I always look forward to hearing from parents and a wonderful year ahead of us for making music here at Timberlane. Go Tigers!
Good afternoon, Mrs. Howard here in the music department. Looking forward to a wonderful 2021-22 year, headed back to more normalcy and doing some in-person concerts and having a chance to get on the stage and share our music vocally with our families. Also looking forward to doing a musical this year. We'll be doing the musical Frozen. So if you're interested in jumping on the stage and enjoying a little singing, a little dancing, we'd love to have you try out for the show. If you're not interested in that aspect, but you want to run lights and sound and help us backstage with all the props and maybe even some construction and help build sets, please feel free to sign up and join any aspect of the middle school musical. We would love to put you to work and have you help us out. Also, I'll be working with the chess club after school. So if you're interested in chess, don't know how to play, love to play, want a good challenge, feel free to stop by on Thursdays after school as well. Your students may see me this year in more than just the vocal department. I'm helping out with the 8th grade band students and 7th grade band students, with the middle school orchestra kids, general music classes, middle school choruses still. And so, yeah, it's a busy year here in the Timberlane Music Department. Can't wait to see you all in class and in the auditorium and a chance to, come and celebrate the arts with us. I hope you all have a wonderful school year. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime, susan.howard@timberlane.net, especially parents if you've got questions or anything that you would like me to respond to. I'm more than happy to chat with you and, hoping we all have a wonderful school year. Take care.
Yo, my name is Mr. Lorenz and I am the director of the guitar department here at Timberlane. I help teach 8th grade general music, and I also help Mr. Lyons in 6th grade orchestra. In our 8th grade general music classes, we focus solely on playing these bad boys, playing songs and riffs and chords and music and riffs and melodies and chords and guitars and stuff. We also have opportunities to go beyond guitaring at the 8th grade general music level. We have guitar advisory before school, where we learned extra skills like finger picking and some fancier chords where we can show off our skills at a concert later on in the year. Really looking forward to working with all of our TRMS students. Bye.
Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Lyons and I'm the 6th through 12 orchestra director here at Timberlane Regional School District. I am the 6th grade orchestra, 7th grade orchestra, 8th grade, and high school conductor, teacher, and director. As you can see, we've got cellos over here, we've got our meme wall. We are all performance-based classes. Our first performance is actually coming up on October 29th. It's an in-school performance, and that's our annual Spooky concert. Really looking forward to having that. We were unable to have that last year. We also have performances in December, March, and May. We're super excited to prepare music and share it to the community. The kids have been doing great so far. On top of teaching orchestra, I also teach 8th grade general music, which is guitar. That's our curriculum. Guitars are right back here. We use these guys in class every day. We learn riffs, we learn chords, we learn melodies, we learn various styles of music. We learn rock and roll, jazz, blues, pop songs, you name it. It's been going great as well. I also teach 7th grade general music, where we do a curriculum of bucket drumming, African drumming, and then we do a whole unit on piano more toward the end of the year. That has also been wonderful. Lastly, I help out with 6th grade beginning band a little bit, where I get to show off my maybe not so great clarinet skills. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys have an awesome year. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Kurt Schweiss. I am the interim director of music for Timberlane, and I also teach a lot of the middle school band classes. with Mr. Clark. And we are incredibly excited to have everybody back in our buildings this year, incredibly excited to be able to participate in live music making. And I'm really looking forward, as I'm sure you are as well, to be able to come to those live performances at our Performing Arts Center. Looking forward to working with all of you. Have a great evening.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to talk to you about the Timberlane Middle School Phys Ed program. My name is Jeff Petrie. I will introduce the others here as I share my screen and I get to our slideshow. Here we go. So welcome to Phys Ed, and we'll fill you in on all the sort of things here for all the kids. This is a similar bit of slideshow that we show the kids in the first day of Phys Ed. So here we go. So this is our whole Phys Ed staff. All right, give you a little lowdown on them. Miss O'Sullivan is a 6th grade and 8th grade Phys Ed teacher. She teaches 7th grade health. Myself, I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade Phys Ed. Mrs. Hogan teaches health to our 6th graders and 8th graders, but also teaches Phys Ed to our 7th graders. And Miss Dresser teaches 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade Phys Ed. There's always 3 teachers in the gym. So we have 3 attendance lists in the gym at all times. So even though your child's Phys Ed on Power School might say my name or Miss O'Sullivan's or Miss Hogan's or Mrs. Dresser's, they will likely be having times where we are teaching a lesson to them because we offer multiple activities and they switch around to different teachers. There's just one teacher who actually enters the grade into the computer and takes their daily attendance. All right, so your student either has Phys Ed on A days or B days. So the important thing here is to sort of help make sure that they're prepared for class so that they can fully participate. So on those days, they need to be prepared with the right clothes on so that they can participate. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so masks must be worn during Phys Ed right now during the time when we're inside. When we're outside, we are able to take our masks off when we're socially distanced from our classmates. If during vigorous activity you need to get a breath of air, we tell the kids you can lower your mask if you're 6 feet away from other students for a brief second and get some air and then pull up your mask. So that's sort of the message that we're sending kids. We realize as they're playing, masks fall, and we're encouraging kids to keep them up over their nose when we're especially in the building. And when we're outside, some kids are keeping them on right now. Some are taking them off. Whatever is most comfortable for them when they're outside. We do tend to be more sort of spread out as we're playing outside and get some fresh air during Phys Ed class. So when we talk about PE change of clothes, we don't expect the kids to change. What we do require them is to be sort of appropriately dressed for the attire for Phys Ed that day. So shorts, t-shirts, sweatshirts, sneakers, socks are appropriate for activities in physical education. The students will be allowed to play if they have clothes that meet the general school dress code and sneakers that are tied tight. So the sneakers is sort of our biggest issue that we have, that we need kids to sort of make sure they have the right shoes. So the biggest thing is that we need sneakers that are athletic type are best, but sneakers that at least can be tied to at least give the proper support. There are some slip-on things that kids would love to be able to wear, but they're just not safe. We've had too many injuries in the past that we need to try to keep them as safe as possible. So we go over this with the kids. These are the same slides that we show them. We talk about how Crocs are not acceptable, even though some kids try to tell us that sport mode is a thing. Sport mode, it doesn't make the Crocs any real safer. The slip-on Vans, as fashionable as they are, they're designed for fashion. They're not designed for physical activity and running around on our athletic fields. Our fields often are still a little bit damp or wet or dirty, and so those shoes will just get ruined out there. We try to encourage kids to wear older sneakers for Phys Ed class, not their best favorite new ones. The other thing there that has become popular here is the like Nike Air Force Ones or other shoes which kids don't want to crease and they don't want to tie their laces. So it's important that they have them set up so that they can be tied. Otherwise, we can't let them participate. So another thing we've overall been trying to crack down on is just not to have phys ed class does not need to have anyone have their cell phone. Obviously, we've seen too many times where these fall out of a pocket, they smash the floor, they shatter the glass, all right, all those kinds of things, or they fall onto the grass outside, and things can happen to the phones. Parents invest a lot of money into these things for their children, so we just encourage kids not to have them around. Leave them in their lockers, which is where they're supposed to be during the day anyways. We always encourage the kids to sort of use those phones at home to take a look at the weather so that they can be prepared for whatever the temperatures are and what the field conditions might be, wet grass, cold, hot, whatever it is. So obviously, most of these kids' phones have that ability to check on the weather and figure out what it's going to be like for that day, and we encourage them to do so. We do try to stay outside for as long as possible in the fall. Once we get 60 to 70 kids in the gym, space gets tighter and it limits us to what we can do when we're in the fall. And in the spring when we're outside, we can offer 1 activity in the gym and 2 outside, and it gets us more spread out and gives us more space to play so that we keep kids more active and we don't have to sort of wait for turns to get into activities. So we will stay out into November. So we do encourage the sweatshirts and the warmer clothes and stuff like that for that time of year. When we talk to them about jewelry, we basically tell them that stud earrings are allowed. If they have medical alerts, we want to know about them. We know that medical alerts come in all kinds of different sort of designs nowadays, so we encourage them to let us know what they are. We do understand that kids get their ears pierced. We just sort of ask kids not to wear dangly or hoop type earrings. When it comes to bracelets, we know that kids sort of wear lots of different kinds. We discourage any of these sort of metal type things with sharp edges or anything like that. We do allow some of the cloth type things. We do tell kids that if they have fitness trackers, we do allow them to wear them. We do encourage them to take them off during certain activities, like that could damage them or that could maybe cause harm to other people. But we go over that. So we sort of tell them that we reserve the right to sort of say, hey, it's not a good idea to wear them today. When it comes to water bottles, during this time right now, especially if kids need water, it's good to have one that's from home. We always tell the kids to make sure their names are on them. We do come up with collections of these as they get left behind in the gym, and we often turn them into the lost and found. We know that you as parents are investing good money in some of these water bottles, the Yetis and the Hydro Flasks and all that stuff. So we do encourage kids to remember them and hopefully get their names on them just in case they leave them behind. When it comes to your children being sick or injured and things like that, we do need notes to come from home or the doctor's office that say they can't participate. This goes sort of for how long they might be out for. If it is a day, just that day, then often they just are able to sort of be to the side or into the library or things like that. When someone has an injury and they're going to be out for an extended period of time, then we will also need one that comes back in that says that they're allowed to participate again. So that's just an important thing to make sure that if you are taking your son or daughter to the doctors, to make sure that you come back with notes from them that tells us what their status is. We do encourage the kids that if they get hurt or sick during class, they let us know so that we can sort of direct them to the right places. And then obviously kids have EpiPens and inhalers, and we need to make sure that they have them with us so that we can keep them safe in class for those different types of things. Online communication is best through Google Classroom for us. We do have assignments, homework assignments and documents, study guides for the tests that we have to give them and all those kinds of things for the assessments. It's a place that's easy for kids to message their teachers when they need help or have questions. And it's easy for us to message the kids across Google Classroom. Everyone is sort of getting very comfortable with that platform. So we continue to use it for phys ed. It's a good place for us to give them links or any of the information that we need to get them. When it comes to grading, this is sort of the first thing we talk about here is our sort of daily grade about student professionalism. Competency number 2 says exhibit responsible personal and social behavior in order to respect yourself and others in physical activity testing. It's assessed daily. So what basically we're looking for from kids is to be prepared for class, to be an active participant in class, and sort of to behave themselves in a way that keeps them safe and others in the class safe. And as long as kids do that, they sort of earn that daily sort of phys ed grade at participating in the things. Each trimester, we have competencies that are assessed. In the fall, right now, we are using our racket sports unit to assess some of the other competencies. We are also required to assess literacy competencies and stuff like that. So in our homeworks and our online assignments and our other parts of our assessment, where we ask kids to sort of give us that feedback in sort of a written fashion so that we can help to assess literacy as well. These are our phys ed competencies. All four of those are posted on district websites and all that kind of stuff. But as we are assessing these, we use rubrics. We get them posted on our walls in our gym. We also get them posted into our Google Classroom pages so that kids can see them and then understand what it is that we're looking for from them. So when it comes to our phys ed curriculum, we are sort of, last year we were very limited in what we were sort of allowed to use because we were trying not to share too much equipment and all that kind of stuff. We have sort of been able to sort of open things up more and incorporate more of our stuff as we continue to make sure we clean things after classes that are used very often and touched by lots of hands. In between classes, we still are encouraging kids to use our hand sanitizer stations. We have a number of those around the gym and just outside the gym. So we're doing all those sort of things to sort of try to keep kids as clean as possible from sharing germs amongst each other. But we do have a very wide range of activities. Very much the movement in physical education these days, especially with this age group, is to sort of involve them in as many different things as possible to hopefully promote a lifestyle of staying physically active. It is more of sort of a push away from team sport sort of things to more like individual lifelong activities. And we continue to sort of, put those things out there for kids and give them opportunities. Obviously, fitness units in the wintertime when we're inside in the gym, trying to encourage kids to stay physically active as well, and just give them lots and lots of experiences so that hopefully they find something that they like, that they might want to continue to stay physically active their whole life. So that pretty much wraps it up. Feel free to reach out to us with emails if you have any further questions, and we can help answer them. Have a great night.
Break down the engineering design process. We also call it EEP. Let's go. Ask the right questions. Imagine how to solve them. Plan out each and every move. Create a solution to the problem. See what works and then improve. Ask the right questions. Imagine how to solve them. Plan out each and every move. Create a solution to the problem. See what works and then improve. Ask the right questions. Imagine how to solve them. Plan out each and every move. Create a solution to the problem, see what works and then improve. The engineering design process. We also call it EEP. Let's go. Ask the right questions. Imagine how to solve them. Plan out each and every move. Create a solution to the problem. See what works and then improve. Ask the right questions. Imagine how to solve them. Plan out each and every move. Create a solution to the problem. See what works and then improve. Ask the right questions. Imagine how to solve them. Plan out each and every move. Create a solution to the problem. See what works and then improve.
Hello and welcome to TRMS Digital Literacy Open House video. We are known as the Tech Ed Department or Technology class for the students. These are your two technology teachers. I'm Jenna Richards, I'm on the left, and our other teacher is Mr. Colin DeFries, who is out on leave currently and will be returning before the end of October. These are technology expectations, or our class expectations. We have shared these with your students. They have been posted in their Google Classrooms, but we did want to put it up and make a couple points here for you parents. We do update our grades regularly, either weekly or bi-weekly, so please make sure to log into PowerSchool and check and see your students' progress. Also, to make sure you know that there's no food or drink allowed in our class other than water, especially at the computer stations. Class routine. Technology is now a 30-day unified art. It will meet every other day, so your student will have either technology on A days or B days, and it is a 45-minute long class. We use our desktop computer workstations as well as other school technology, including Chromebooks, video cameras, printers, 3D printers, etc. Now for the curriculums. 6th grade has multiple curriculums because we do not go in as depth in these topics. We do animations. They create a stop animation in a Google slideshow, and they are learning the components of how they have to create that animation. We also educate them about cyberbullying and internet safety practices. Professional email writing. They should be able to write a professional email by the end of 6th grade tech ed, as they will be contacting their teachers on a regular basis and most likely through email. They're going to need to be able to identify the parts of a computer and what they do, as well as we do dabble a little bit with some emerging technologies such as virtual reality, robots, and drones. Moving on to 7th grade. 7th grade has 3 units because we go into a little bit more depth. And for the first one, digital research, we talk about evaluating resources for credibility and making sure that they are accurate information. We talk about search strategies and how to make better search results. And then we discuss how to make citations or works cited, to paraphrase work and summarize work so that you are not plagiarizing. For video creation, we use a program called WeVideo. In WeVideo, the students learn to edit their video to make it appropriate and correct. And last but not least, we do a project with using Google Drawing, and this year we have been creating pop art. Moving on to 8th grade. 8th grade also has 3 units. We use Sheets or Google Sheets, and we talk about organizing data on a spreadsheet, graphing, and using formulas and functions through the spreadsheet, and then being able to analyze your data that you have created in that spreadsheet. Then they talk about digital citizenship, and we talk about understanding their digital footprint and how it can affect their life later on down the road, or how it can affect their life currently. We talk about the consequences of sexting in life, and also what is appropriate use of social media that will keep them to have an appropriate digital footprint. And then last but not least, we do a 3D design project, and we talk about designing and printing for the real life. We hope your students enjoy tech ed by the end of their trimester, and that they are excited to use some of the skills that they have learned.
Good evening. Welcome to the World Language Department Open House. I would like to introduce us, and then we will each speak briefly. My name is Coral Hampy. I'm a Spanish teacher here. We have Jose Franco, also a Spanish teacher, Diana Perry, Spanish, Jen Escobar, Spanish, and Kate Gemelch, who teaches both Spanish and French. Kate.
Thanks, Coral. We'd like to say welcome to World Language. Our goal is to introduce and further develop language learning, language development, as well as a love of learning languages. Students will be using a variety of methods to acquire knowledge. They will access the curriculum through project-based learning, through technology, small group, whole group, and individual work. Deanna?
Hi. Speaking on the expectation of students' growth through middle school, students will be assessed on the 5 competencies: speaking, writing, reading, culture, and listening. And these will align with the national levels in the ACTFL, ACTFL, and we want our students to succeed, and we offer reassessments to all students. Thank you. Jose.
I'm Senor Franco, and I teach Spanish 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. Our students have access to great technology for their language learning process. We encourage them to actually check their Google Classrooms and emails at least once or twice a day for their class materials, messages, assignments, classwork, and other assessments that we may post in Google Classroom as well. Thank you. Jennifer?
Hi, I'm Jen Escobar, and here at TRMS, we always try to model a growth mindset and perseverance. We ask that our students always give their best effort and remain present in class and actively participate as much as possible. There is a possibility that your child may have to quarantine this year, and if this happens, we ask that he or she check Google Classroom for missed assignments and email us if there are any questions. Also, please remember to check PowerSchool regularly to keep up on your child's academic progress. We all post grades and assignments there regularly to help you stay connected. Coral?
Thank you for joining us this evening. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We look forward to working with your children. Good night.
Thank you.
Hello, we are the Reading Suite teachers. My name is Helen Blanchard, and I am a certified reading specialist and special educator. This is my 39th year in education and my 17th year here at the middle school.
Hi, my name is Erica Mahone, and I'm a certified special education teacher. I've been an educator for 25 years, and I've worked at the middle school for the last 3 years.
Hello, my name is Allison Engel, and I am a certified special education teacher as well. I have been in education for 19 years, and this is my 4th year at the middle school. We look forward to working with our students this year.
Good evening, and welcome to the Math Enrichment Virtual Open House for 2021. My name is Meg Melendi, and I am the Math Enrichment teacher here at TRMS. So a little bit about me. I was a professional civil geotechnical engineer for the last 20 years. I designed highway embankments, earth retaining structures, bridge foundations, and I basically use math every day to solve engineering problems. And throughout my career, I got the chance to train lots of young engineers up through the ranks of the engineering world. But last year, I decided I wanted a change and I wanted to get out of engineering and I wanted to spend more time helping others solve problems and learn. So I got the opportunity to join TRMS as a long-term substitute in the spring of last year as a math enrichment teacher. And I am excited this year to continue my journey with your children. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to use some of my varied professional experience to help answer that age-old question of, when are we going to use this? So I'm hoping I can use my experience as an engineer to help give them some real-world examples of when we actually use math. My interests outside of school, I like to go hiking. I used to do a lot more of it before I had children. Same with gardening. Now I pretty much just garden weeds, but I do enjoy it. I like to have a nice cut flowers in my on my kitchen table. And I like to spend lots of time outdoors with my husband and my 3 kids. Pictured here, we're on a backpacking trip. I have 2 boys. Noah is 11, he's in 6th grade. Liam, who's 9 in 4th grade, and my daughter Ella is 6, she's in 1st grade. So what is math enrichment? So math enrichment will give your children a chance to advance further into the math curriculum. So we'll be able to spend a little more time on things that they've started in class, take them to the next step, the next level. We'll work on some challenge problems, or we'll have time to do maybe some project-based activities that allows them to actually develop that understanding of the skill that they're learning in class. We may explore some new math concepts, so some concepts that are not taught in the curriculum, the grade level curriculum. We'll have some time to explore some of those. And we'll also work on just strengthening general problem solving skills through like math puzzles and brain teasers and hands-on activities. So hopefully it'll bring a little bit of fun into the math classroom for all of your children. So what are the expectations for math enrichment? So it occurs during opportunity block every other day. So they'll either come to me at an A day or B day during opportunity block. That's about 55 minutes. And right now we're planning on approximately 6-week rotations for math enrichment. It's not a graded class, so you won't see it in Power School. And there's technically no homework assigned with this class, but we will be expecting active participation while they're in class. So I'm looking forward to a great school year, and I realize since this is a virtual open house, as a parent, I really enjoyed being able to get into the school and see the classrooms that my kids are learning in. So I thought I would include a picture of our math enrichment room. So thanks a lot, and I hope you guys have a good night.
Hi. So Meg and I decided we were going to do our enrichment video together. So welcome to the language arts enrichment portion of your virtual open house. I'm Rebecca McKenzie. Just a little bit about me. I've been teaching for 10 years, a little bit more if you consider that I was teaching adults. So 10 years in school, in public school. And some of my interests are exploring the outdoors. I like to hike just like Meg. And I like, kayaking, snowshoeing, skiing, all the fun stuff. Some of my interests are creative writing, reading, pets. I'm interested in goatscaping. That's something that I've kind of come across recently because the house that my husband and I just bought has a lot of poison ivy. So hiring a goat would be kind of cool to get rid of that. I also like playing word games like Bananagrams, Scrabble. Those are kind of fun activities. And a little bit about my class. So the students in LA Enrichment are going to be able to choose the literature that they read because we're pretty much going to be doing literature circles from a list of books that I've selected. So they're going to participate in these literature circles, then collaborate on projects related to the novels. Again, as Meg had said, this class takes place during op block. It's not graded and it runs for about 6 weeks. So while they're doing these literature circles, they're going to learn some new vocabulary based on what they've been reading, and then be able to enhance their language arts skills by communicating with other students about the novels that they're reading, by doing some creative writing related to that novel, and by being able to write down some of their thoughts and impressions. So I don't have a picture of my classroom, but here's a picture of my cat, Basil. And the two of us, Meg and I, are available to contact if you have any questions. You can email us at the school, and we'd be happy to connect with you there. So I hope you have a great rest of your virtual open house tour, and have a great fall.
Hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our virtual 6th grade all-star open house. I am Mr. Wade. I'm going to take you on a journey of your student's day in the year. Welcome aboard. Here we go. Next. Hey, look at that. We were all 6th graders at one point in time. Take a wild guess which one Mr. Wade is. Yes, the one with the helmet of hair. Genetics are awesome. My parents were sadistic. Anyways, I would like to move on right now with Mrs. Caller. Shall we? No? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am your science teacher. See, that's me, Elizabeth Collard in science. Hi, language arts, Laurie Runyon.
Hi, Diane Gagnon. I teach math.
Let me tell you a little bit about your student's schedule. A day in the life. of an all-star student. We start off in either homeroom or advisory. Advisory is a smaller version of homeroom where students get to know their teacher really well. They get to work on their core values. We're going to be working on academics, becoming a little more empathetic, and it's also a chance for them to catch up with teachers if they were absent. During opportunity block, which is also the world language block, they will see their core teachers and get to work on projects, develop skills. I know in my class we've done mystical creature feature as one of our little research projects, so that was kind of fun. And then extension block is basically a reading block. We're either going to read as a class or they're going to read silently their own independent reading book of choice. We have double blocks. So core 1 and core 2 are an hour and a half long. On A days, they're going to have Red Sox, and on B days, Celtics as their core 1 classes. And like I said, an hour and a half, but we do take a break in the middle for a mask off moment. They have their lunch and recess, and then they come back for their second core class. On A days, that's the Patriots, and on B days, that is Bruins. Again, it's a long block, so we do take a mask off moment. At the end of the day, they will pack up their bags and head to their unified arts. That can be art, technology, music, STEAM, FACS, which is cooking and budgeting and things like that. They could have health, gym, lots of different things to choose from. So the one special thing we do is on a 5-day week, we have a Skinny Friday. Instead of having those big hour and a half blocks, we're going to break that down into 45-minute sessions so that they can see all 4 of their core teachers. Whoop, whoop. Hi, language arts. Stop it, Mr. Wade. He's trying to make me laugh, mess me up. Okay, reading skills, writing skills, and what we're currently working on. Our reading skills, nonfiction, literature, and argument, writing skills, informational essay, narrative essay, argumentative essay. And what we're currently working on is we're reviewing parts of speech to build up, into writing essays, and yeah, that's it, I guess. Why? Moving on.
Hi, it's time for math. So in math, we go through and do a little bit of a review at the beginning of the year. We've already jumped into integers as our first unit, and we're having a good time with that. We will be doing iReady throughout the year. It's a computer-based program that individualizes each child's own path to work on their strengths and weaknesses. During the year, we'll cover expressions and equations, ratios, surface area, volume, some averaging, and of course, fractions and decimals. Thank you. Next up, science.
Me again. As I say to the kids, aren't you sick of seeing me already? So in science, we are doing chemistry and physics. We've kicked off the year with observation and inference and the scientific method because those are going to be interwoven through all of our units. We just started matter and its interactions. So the kids are learning about solids, liquids, gases. We're going to be diving into energy from there, sound and light, and we'll finish up with Newton's laws and forces in motion. And that's really fun because we can be outside and actually go through the motions. All right, Mr. Wade.
I'm back. Hello, social studies. There we go. All right. Your student's year starts out with talking about geography, why it's important to study history. And we really want to get the basics of geography down, especially map skills as we go along. It doesn't make sense talking about the world if they don't understand what the world looks like and the features on the face of the planet. After we get some of that done, we move on to prehistory and the beginnings of civilizations. We talk about how mankind for quite a long time spent days, years, lifetimes just wandering the earth in small groups, and then all of a sudden they stopped doing that and they decided to settle down, and small little hamlets of 50 turned into 100, turned into small towns of 1,000, turned into cities of 10,000, to the world we have today, which is millions. Woo! Millions of people. After that, we're gonna, now that they understand what comes about in early man's history, we're gonna look at some of the first civilizations on Earth: Mesopotamia, Egypt, India, and we're gonna end the year looking at our friends in China. So with no further ado, we're gonna move on to core values. Whoosh.
Hi, me again. Core values. Ooh, housekeeping. Okay. We are expecting all students to practice core values, respect, responsibility, and right choices. And we will be, as a team, actually, we didn't talk about this last time, we have team time tickets. So the students earn tickets if they are displaying core values and can earn prizes. Next up is work-study habits.
Go Andy.
It's been a long time, people, but let's get back into it. So, talking about Timberlane work-study habits, starting middle school all the way through high school, teachers are trying to make observations about these 4 values that are basically real-world values: teamwork, responsibility, mindset, and speaking and listening. And we will be giving them a observation grade of anywhere between 1 and 4. Please remember, these are journeys your students are going on. It's not like they're going to conquer these skills in 6th grade. They're not going to be a 4 in teamwork right away. They're not going to be a 4 in responsibility, mindset, and speaking and listening. They could be, but more often than not, these are like emergent skills that they're working on, especially in COVID times. Okay, so you may see those showing up in the report card, but along with the academic piece to school, we're also trying to help them out with that real world piece. You know, when you and I know, well, anyone listening, do you know? Yeah, I think you know. You know, we have to be certain type of people to be successful in the real world. We have to be able to work with other people, be responsible. We have to be able to speak and listen to other people. And we have to come in with the right mindset, be focused on what we're doing, and be able to carry that through to the end. So they're going to show up. Let's talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about lunch.
Hi, everyone. Just wanted to fill you in on lunch options at the middle school. We do have quite a few lunch options. Door number 1, 2, and 3. There's lots of choices. You can get the main meal. You can get what I call the fast food, where it's pizza, cheeseburgers, chicken patties, something like that, French fries, potato puffs. And then the third option is a virtual Subway without the heated subs. You can ask for wraps or subs or sandwiches, and there's a variety of toppings and meats and cheeses to go on. Those are all for free this year as we live through COVID yet again. There are, however, some options that are extra, and the extras cost money. Things like chips and ice cream, flavored drinks, granola bars, those fabulous muffin tops that I adore, cost money. So if your child is saying they're getting free lunch, but your lunch account is in the negatives, we've been doing integers in math this week, you may want to ask them how many items they're buying extra. Just a caution that your lunch bill can go up substantially if they enjoy the plethora of extras that are available. And I'm up again, lucky me. Expectations for assignments. Assignments/homework. I usually call it homework. I'm a little old-fashioned, but we'll call it assignments for this year. Usually the assignments are due in any one of the classes the next day. We do have a few projects here and there that we might give them a longer span of time, but we do expect them to do it and get it done on time so they're ready and prepared for the next class. It doesn't help to do homework after you've taken the actual test and you pass in homework a month late. That's not helping you get ready and prepare for the curriculum or prepare for the next day's lesson. So we love it when they're timely and they get their work in on time. Usually, we haven't got them yet. We do have agenda books that we ask them to write in daily, so you have a week's worth of homework all in one page opened up. They have not arrived yet. So hopefully in the near future, you will see books coming home called agenda books, and we will have them write in their homework there. Since this isn't an option right now, we do have a Google page that's called All-Star Assignments page, And at the very top, it will give the current week's homework in each class of the core classes. So it gives a quick overview, equation search worksheet for math, and then they would need to know whether it's in their folder, it's a paper worksheet in their folder, or they need to go to their classroom, their content classroom, to find that homework assignment or that class assignment that they need to finish. So just try and help them stay organized. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to email any of us. Next, Power School.
Yay, Power School! Let's talk about Power School! Yay! Joking, but wait, when you get a chance to play with little Halloween
That's Mr.
puppets,
Wade.
let's go. All right. So Power School, you can check. Today's day and age is pretty easy to see how well your students doing. You can check Power School, the grades in there, and you can monitor their progress. This is how it looked like to your students. We do encourage your students on every Tuesday and Thursday morning during advisory to check their grades, because middle school is all about being more responsible for yourself and your education. K-5 was great. They made it through fantastic. But as you're getting older, we know it's all about you doing more for yourself. So we're asking kids to kind of monitor their grades and kind of be proactive, reach out. You make a mistake, that's not the end of the world. It's like, what do you do when you make the mistake? So in this example here, you can see the students doing fantastic. There's one grade there that's not bad, but it's a little low. So what you would do at home is you'd simply click on that grade and another screen will show up, a screen like this. And this screen will show you exactly all the grades that went into that current overall grade in that class. And you can see there's a few zeros in there. Zeros are no-nos. They do not average out nicely with all the other friends in the group. So we encourage students to monitor this twice a week. We encourage you to monitor at home. Like Mrs. Gagnon said, please reach out to us if you have any questions. But the big thing is we're trying to get students to be able to say, you know what, I can do better. I know this isn't what it should be. Please let me go talk to that teacher so I can make this right. That's what, Power School, I think the best part about Power School is really just, helping these students move forward in life and be more responsible. So I think you've heard it from me enough. Why don't we move forward to Mrs. Collard? Miss Collard, are you ready? She is. Bye. I can try to figure out which way to put it. Bye.
Hi, me again. So I just wanted to let you know, Mrs. Gagnon talked about that Google Classroom online resource where you can check and see if those assignments are posted until we get agenda books. It is called the All Stars assignment page. In order to check that, you need to have your student, your child, my student, your child, log in.
Just a reminder, boys beach soccer has been canceled today. Also, robotics club is canceled.
Girls B soccer has not been canceled yet.
Thank you for your patience while the announcements go. So anywho, if you want to check out Google Classroom pages, you just need to log on using your student's login username and password. That's going to be their first initial, last name, and 28, which is the year they graduate at timberlane.net. And their password is the 5-digit ID that they use to get lunch plus ABC. And lastly, we just wanted to say have a great year. Thank you so much for being part of our team. And we hope to see you soon.
Bye.
Enjoy the year.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night. This is Ford Sullivan, and I am the 6th grade science teacher on the 6B Blockbusters. And we'd like to welcome you to this online open house. First, we're going to start by introducing everyone on the team. Michelle?
Hi, my name is Miss Trainer, and I am the math teacher for our team Blockbusters this year.
I'm Allie. I am the social studies teacher this year.
And I am Lauren Belvo, the English language arts teacher on 6B.
We're going to take you through a little slideshow that we put together, showing a couple things about what we do in our class, what our units look like for each of our specific cores, and talk to you about kind of what a day-to-day schedule looks like for your 6th grader. Also on our team, who is not here with us in the Zoom, is Leslie Galley. She is our case coordinator, and Marcia Quigley, who is the paraprofessional on our team. They're here to help out every student with whatever they need, both academically and social emotional as well.
All right, I'll go ahead and get us started on our language arts curriculum for this year. One of the units that we talk about this year is based all around survival, and this will be part of our informational reading and writing unit. We'll talk about summarizing main ideas, analyzing text structure, and making inferences. Another one of our units is on growth and choices. This will be with our fiction and short stories for reading and narrative essay for writing. With this unit, we'll be focusing on inferencing, determining a theme, how characters change throughout a story, and plot. And finally, we will be talking about impact. This will be an informational reading unit, an argumentative essay writing unit, focusing on author's point of view and evaluating an argument. And for this year, we have some main points. So here are some of them. We have decimal and fraction operations. We have understanding positive and negative numbers, which is integers, which is our first unit that we are currently working on. We have algebraic expressions and equations, ratio, rate, and percents, volume and surface area, and then we end the year with organizing and summarizing data.
For science this year, we've started with some simple observation and inferencing for the kids. And right now we're starting the scientific method. But our 4 main units include forces and interaction. So we're talking about gravity, physical science type things, matter and interactions, energy, wave and the electromagnetic spectrum, and sound and light.
All right, so finally for social studies, it's kind of a combination of all things good. We'll start with geography and map skills. That is what we're working on right now. We're just starting our maps, and I am so impressed by some of the kids' retention of where their countries are. Then we're going to move into prehistory and beginnings of civilization. So we'll talk about the Greeks and the Romans, the Chinese Empire, India, and finally traits of those early civilizations like Egypt, China, things like that.
Now some general information to help you better understand what it's like here at Timberlane Regional Middle School. We're going to walk you quickly through what a schedule looks like. Students arrive in the cafeteria around 7:15, and right after announcements at about 7:30, they start advisory. Advisory is a very small group, 10 kids or under, where you're trying to build relationships. We have a day where we go outside to go for some walks. We have a couple academic advisories where the students are allowed to do a little work and get caught up on missing assignments. That ends at 7:55, and then we go into opportunity block. Opportunity block is also shared time with world language. So your student either has op block one day and world language the next. Opportunity block is simply an opportunity to get caught up if you were out because you were sick or missed some time. It's also an opportunity to get prepared more. If there was an assessment, a quiz or test upcoming, your student could seek out the teacher to get a little bit more of a study session before that assessment was to take place. After opportunity block and more language, for 25 minutes, we have extension block, which is simply reading. The students go to their reading classroom and we're asked to read. Sometimes we have out loud reading sessions. The students read independently. Sometimes we're able to go outside if the weather's nice, and the students are allowed to read, which we believe is a very important part of the day, is getting some reading time in. 9:15 to 10:45 is core 1. So the students have 2 cores on each given day, an A day and a B day. Yes, it is a 90-minute class, but we do a great job of getting the kids outside for mass breaks. We have some motion breaks, and it allows us to really conduct a nice, long, project-based, hands-on classrooms, which we know the kids appreciate. 11:02 to 11:30, the students head down to the cafeteria for lunch, followed by about a 10-minute recess to get a little bit of that sixth grade energy out. And then they continue with Core 2, which actually starts right before lunch and then heads to 12:45. At 12:45 to 2:15, the students will have 2 unified arts, which could include art, technology, facts, chorus, gym, music. And they have 2 on an A day, and then they will have 2 other ones on a B day. And that's how they end their day. Timberlane has 3 specific core values, and we've actually added one over the past couple of years. We really try to promote respect, responsibility, and right choices for all students. We take a lot of time in advisory and homeroom explaining to the students about how important those core values are, and if everyone was to follow them, how great of an environment we would create here at the school. We've added empathy in there as well. We know that every student has differences, and we want to embrace that. We want people to try to understand each other. And again, just allows the school to really operate as a very accepting environment, which allows the students to enjoy themselves and have a fun, safe learning experience. Here are some homework expectations. We want to be on the same page with everyone at home about what we expect. Because students only see us every other day, homework is due on that day it is asked to be due. So the students have 2 nights, and I know they're busy with all kinds of extracurricular activities, but homework is due when it's been noted to do. It is important that the homework is done because it connects those concepts to what we're teaching the curriculum, and it's important for them to do a little bit of that work at home. Google Classroom pages are updated. Every one of the 4 of us have our own Google Classroom page. We also have a Blockbusters page, which we will list homework on and list other information that we think everyone should know. That's kind of our hub for everything that we needed Blockbuster wise. But if you need more information, you could go to each of our individual pages, which tells a little bit about what we did that day and also what is the homework for that evening. Here's a big one that we're running into some issues with already. Chromebook expectations. Obviously, every student was given a Chromebook to start this year, which is theirs for the next 3 years. It's very important that they take care of them. They need to be charged nightly, a full night charge so that they are able to use them for the entire next day from basically 7:30 to 2:30 if needed. Insurance is recommended. They have been offered that. I'm sure some of you already have that. I think it's $30 if I'm not mistaken, and that allows for any sort of issues. They can repair them. And if your student's having an issue where it's not charging or there's issues with whatever it is, they can always bring it to the library, get a loaner one while theirs is being repaired. Worst case scenario, if you're having trouble, your student's not charging them at night, they can always bring in their charger if needed. And I think that's most of what we wanted to talk to you about. We wanted to give you a quick little blurb on how the year has gone so far. First of all, we have an amazing group of students, and we're very happy with their progression so far. I know we're wearing masks. I know that this is all kind of new for them with a big school. They're getting lockers. They're traveling all around, but they have done so well so far, and they're a very nice, caring group of kids. So we couldn't be happier with their progress so far. We are asking a lot of them, and our expectations will keep increasing as the year goes on. But so far, 1 month into the year, we are very happy with the group, and we couldn't say better things about them. So if you ever have any questions for any of us, all of our emails are listed on the Timberlane Middle School website. And we thank you for taking part of this and getting to know us a little bit and putting a face with a name. And we're hoping for an amazing year. So thanks for watching.
Hi, Challenger parents. This is a slideshow that we created to kind of show you a day in a life of your 6th grader here at the middle school. My name is Heather Torelli. I teach science. We also have Robin Feisick, who is a special education case coordinator. And we have 2 assistants on our team, Mike Donovan and Patricia O'Malley.
I'm Julie Anderson. I teach language arts. Hi, I'm Angela Kinson. I teach math.
Hello, I'm Ray Moore and I teach social studies.
Right when the students get off the bus in the morning, they go to the cafeteria, and then at 7:30 they go to their lockers and head to their into their advisory. There we work on core values of the school, and it's a nice small group for the kids to get started. After that, at 7:55 to 8:50, they head to opportunity block or they head to world language, depending on if it's an A day or a B day. And during opportunity block, they get what they need. They can work on absent work, meet with a teacher if they need extra help, and then and when they go to world language, they're in their world language depending on A day or B day. Next, they head to extension block where they sit and read a book of their choice. And then after that, they go to their core 1 classes, depending on whether it's an A day or a B day. But they will go to their first core class and they will meet with one of their team teachers, either math, science, social studies, or ELA. Then they will head to their second core class, which will be another one of their team teachers, math, science, social studies, or ELA. In the middle of that, they will go to lunch, and then they will come back to that core class. And then at the very end of the day, from 12:45 to 2:15, they will go to 2 different unified arts classes: art, tech ed, music, band, chorus, STEAM, FACS, health. When we have a 5-day week, on Friday, we will usually have a skinny Friday, which means that they get to see all of their core classes, but they're just shortened. And they'll see us for approximately 45 minutes. It's a great way to see all the kids kind of wrapping up the week, and then you get to see all the kids on the team. And that will happen on Fridays when we have 5-day weeks usually.
Language arts. Right now in language arts, we are working on kind of boot camp, basic writing skills. So we're working on parts of speech, sentence structure, and then eventually paragraph structure. And then we will start moving into our units for the year. For reading skills, for nonfiction, we'll be doing summarizing, inferencing, analyzing, text structures, different texts. Literature, we'll be reading novels, so we'll be focusing on theme, character change, and plot. And then argument, we do author's point of view and evaluating an argument for reading skills. Writing skills, we do an informational essay. That'll be during trimester 1. Second trimester, we'll do a narrative essay or story. And then third trimester, we'll do argumentative essay.
Math. Yes. There it is. There's what we're going to be learning. So we've already started with integers. We're actually halfway through it already. We are cooking. Then we're moving on to power, exponents, order of operations. Then we're moving on to everyone's favorite fractions and decimals. Then ratios and rates, percents, and then we're ending the year with algebraic expressions and properties and equations and inequalities.
Science. We have 4 different units in science: forces and interactions, matter and interactions, energy, waves, and electromagnetic radiation. We'll be doing lots of projects. We'll be doing lots of labs for each of these units. And the kids will be learning lots about Newton's laws as well.
Finally, social studies. We're well on our way of working on some geography and map skills, and we'll be incorporating these skills into the prehistory, the beginnings of the civilization that we study, and also the traits of early civilizations.
Housekeeping.
Chemeling core values. Here at Chemeling Middle School, we preach respect to ourselves and each other, responsibilities to one another, and being a student here within the school community and as well as in the community, making right choices inside and outside of school, and also promoting empathy between each other. And with the Chemeling work study habits, promoting teamwork throughout the classes and throughout the team itself, responsibility in the classroom, in the halls, in teams,
and outside of school. A positive mindset we promote throughout the day, and speaking and listening to each other.
Lunch. Everyone's favorite question. When is lunch? There's so many choices here. It smells delicious. My food is right across from the calf, let me tell you. So hot lunch, your entree, milk, fruit, or vegetable, that is free. Anything outside of that, you will get charged. So if you already find that you have some bucks rolling in that you thought was supposed to be free, chips, ice cream, those flavored drinks, granola bars, like all of those are extra. So just take a look to make sure you're not getting charges and maybe talk about it with your kiddos and make sure you understand what's free versus not free. Assignment expectations. So if you have class on a Monday and you get assigned homework, it is due the next day, which would be Wednesday, for following an AB schedule. It's an important part of the curriculum and it helps students be prepared for the following class. Typically, we have homework. And I tell them every day, and we all do, that yes, you have homework today, but you have all day today, the next day, and the day after that, then it's finally due. So there's plenty of time to get it done. So use the Challenger assignment in Google Classroom. You will find all of our homework assignments, and that is updated daily.
Power School. So Power School, because we're doing grades this year, which your kids are not really used to. In Power School, it can sometimes be confusing. So you will see the actual grade in there, but you want to click on that grade. So for language arts, for example, if you see the B minus, you want to click on the B minus, and then it will bring you to all the assignments that we've done and the scores that kids got on the individual assignments. All our grades in our classes are weighted by categories and percentages. So that matters as well, and you can see those categories in there. So it's important to not only just look at the grade, but click on it to look at assignments as well, and assessments that are in there.
Math.
And this is just an example of what the assignment page will look like once you click on that B grade. So this would be LA, for example. You can see homework, classwork, quiz category. That was back when we had a summer assignment. So it will give you an idea of how your kids are doing in each of the categories as well. There are symbols as well. So if they're missing something, you'll see a missing symbol. You might see an incomplete. You might see an absent in there. Those are also useful. If missing, they want to make it up as soon as possible. Google Classroom. So all the students are pretty good at getting into Google Classroom at this point. But if you would like to get into your child's Google Classroom, you can log in with their first initial, last name, year of graduation, which is 28, at timberlane.net, and then their password is your child's student ID plus ABC. So you can log in there as well and check. Our Challenger assignment page, which Angela talked about earlier, is where we will post homework for students to complete every day. Ideally, we try to get in there every day and post it. So this is a great place for them to look if they're not sure exactly what they have due or what they have upcoming for quizzes or projects, homework, assignments. This is where all the information will be for all their core classes. And this is what the Google Classroom may or may not look like. Your student will have the Challenger assignment, and then they'll have a classroom for science, a classroom for math, a classroom for LA, classroom for social studies, and then they also will have probably a world language and some unified arts in there. They might have an op block. They might have an extension in there, depending on the teacher that they have. And every student also has a library one that has a lot of useful information about books for this year.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Any questions, please contact us.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Team 7 Aces Open House.
We are the 7 Aces, and team teachers are Miss Lichardello, who does language arts. We have Miss Costa, who does science. We have Miss Leonard, who does math. Mr. Dion is a social studies teacher. I myself am Mr. Sullivan. I'm the special ed teacher on team, and working with me will be Miss Bresnahan, who is the special education paraprofessional on team. For today's agenda, we will be doing a day in the life of a 7th grader, opportunity block, Google Classroom, communication, and classroom curriculum.
So a day in the life of an ACE. So 7th grade is a little bit different than 6th grade. Basically from 7:30 to 2:15, these kids are working with their different core teachers and UAs. So in the morning, they come in at 7:30 and they meet with their advisory teacher for about 25 minutes. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they're working on academics. So could get work done during that time. After 7:55, they're going to transition to their first core class, which lasts about 90 minutes. After their core classes, they go to their UAs for about 50 minutes each. Then they return to us for extension block, which is generally a form of reading, whether it's independent reading by them or a book read out loud by the teacher. After extension block, students transition into their world language opportunity block for another 55 minutes. And then they end the day with core 2 in their lunch period for about 25-minute break in there. So it is a pretty jam-packed day for your students and are on team ACEs. So it's a little bit different than last year's schedule, and students have been adjusting well to these changes.
All righty, Op Block. This is Ms. Lichardello. I'm going to talk to you about Opportunity Block, which is a little different than in 6th grade. And last year was a very strange year, and Opportunity Block became kind of a time to work on anything and to get some extra help. This year, it's quite a bit more structured, back to the way we've always done it. So students will either have Opportunity Block on A day or B day. And every Wednesday is actually old. That needs to go away. We didn't realize that. That's left over from last year. So A days and B days, we have Opportunity Block. And what do we do during that time? Well, students are assigned to a place, and it's on Power School. It's their class for 6 to 12 weeks, depending on when the classes rotate. They can receive during that time additional support in LA and math. We've just started our new Op Block rotations, and we've assigned certain students to be with Mrs. Leonard for math or me for language arts, based on what we see in classroom performance very early in the year, but based on what we know, and on this recent iReady testing, which kind of pointed toward some things to work on. They can also receive enrichment in social studies with Mr. Dion or science with Mrs. Costa, and some of our students have been assigned to those groups, or math with Mrs. Melendi, or language arts with Mrs. McKenzie. And those groups also are just starting yesterday and today as well. We assigned some kids to go off team for enrichment in math and language arts. It's also time to get extra help in all your classes, as long as that teacher is available and not, up to their eyeballs with an activity they're doing with the kids who are assigned to them. But it is a chance maybe to if they can work mostly independently, to come in and find out what they missed, for example, if they were absent. So kids are assigned. We're going to be moving kids through every 6 to 12 weeks, as we said, and that'll be based on what we see and on subsequent iReady testing. So next.
This is Mrs. Leonard here talking about Google Classroom. I am the math teacher on the team. All of your kiddos have a Google Classroom page. They have been enrolled in all of their classes on that Google Classroom page. It is a very important tool and something that we want them utilizing all the time. You can see their Google Classroom pages as well by logging in underneath them. You can also enroll as a guardian on those pages, so you can receive information in regards to what we post, so on and so forth. So if you want information, definitely ask your child about that, and you can get on the Google Classroom page and sign up as a guardian. In regards to what the Google Classroom page is used for, we post homework there. We attach some of the assignments. So for instance, in mathematics, I always attach the worksheets that we use, which is great. If the kiddo forgets the assignment at school, then they can print it out at home or just do it on a side piece of paper. We print notes on, or we post notes, different projects, so on and so forth. So it's definitely a great tool. They can see when their due dates are. And once again, it's great for absent kiddos. There's also an ACES homepage, which is where we post information about birthdays and the kids can celebrate each other's birthdays, important news. Let's say we have a change in schedule or picture day, things of that nature. So it's always good to know what's going on in the school itself and on team. And that's about it. One thing that Google Classroom, we do not want you using it for is grading. That's where PowerSchool comes in, and Mrs. Costa is going to talk about that in the next slide. But Google Classroom is strictly for figuring out what are the assignments, what notes do we have, what resources might be there, but for grading, definitely go to PowerSchool. Mrs. Costa, you're up.
Hey, I'm Mrs. Costa. I teach science and I offered to talk about team communication today. I just wanted to pick up on what Mrs. Leonard was saying about Google Classroom being the place where you can find information about your assignments, whereas the big difference when you're looking for grading is to go to PowerSchool. That's where grades are updated at least every 2 weeks by teachers in our school. And when you're there on PowerSchool, it's important to recognize that there are some links there. So if something looks blue underlined, you can dive in deeper and get more information by clicking on the link. So if you saw your child's science grade, for example, you could click on that grade and then that would open up and have more details about how that grade was built, allowing you to identify specific assignments that need to be completed or things to pay attention to. I would recommend to parents to check PowerSchool on a weekly basis, if not more often, because catching problems before they get too snowballed is really helpful. Teachers are keeping an eye on that as well, but we appreciate your partnership in that. Our agenda books are on order and they're on some cargo ship being shipped here. So in the meantime, our team has been using a paper where kids are writing down their homework for a given week at a time. And we're just trying to use that system to keep us going until the actual agenda books come in. If you'd like your child to have an agenda book, then you're welcome to purchase one in the meantime. We really don't know when they're going to arrive. So fingers crossed on that. The last thing I have on my list, the Remind app. I'm not sure if you've used Remind before. Sports teams often use this app. It's for one-way communication from the team for reminders. And by joining our team code through Remind, you can get an email sent directly from the team to you, sort of an email blast out. Also, it can go directly to your cellular device. So for example, if a field trip needed to be rescheduled last minute, or if it was picture day or something of that nature, that's how we could do a quick communication, even if it was after hours, just to our team. So please consider having your child join Remind, and also as parents join Remind. It keeps us all in the same loop about things that are going on. Thank you.
All right, that says language arts, which makes me very happy because I love language arts. Let's talk about LA. I have to move Mrs. Costa's face so that it's not over my words here. This is Ann Littradello again. It's a good thing I love teaching language arts because I've been doing it for approximately forever. And we got a lot of words on this slide, but really what we're doing this year is reading and writing and speaking and learning how to express ourselves and learning how to understand what other people are expressing. And we'll be doing it in a number of different ways. We're going to be doing, the kids have already started their daily journal writing, and they are really doing a nice job on it. Some of the kids were pretty sure they couldn't write in their journal, and everybody has already shown great improvement. And their proofreading is pretty good, which is nice as well. I've been enjoying very much reading their daily journals and responding to them. We are also going to do more formal writing. Constructed responses are just a way to write a paragraph that answers a question, which is a pretty useful skill for school and also for just organizing your thoughts. We'll end the year with a narrative writing piece about their lives, and we'll think about doing a little research, writing a 5-paragraph essay, and learning how to write an argument that is not just "I said so." We do read a lot. The kids read on their own, plus we'll be reading 2 novels in class. Right now we're working through Behind the Bedroom Wall, which is somewhere behind me. And the kids are learning about fictional elements. We're going to talk about setting and conflict specifically with this book. And everything that they write will be graded both on, except for their journals, will be graded both on the content of what they said and then separately the conventions, because you can have the world's best ideas, but if you don't know how to present yourself using the rules of written English, nobody's going to listen to you. And so I want the kids to know how to speak properly and how to write properly so that they can be taken seriously, because your kids have some great ideas. You'll see in the corner there how our homework is, or how our grading is divided up in language arts. Homework is more on whether or not you made the deadline than on whether or not you did it. Because I think that's also a really important skill for the kids to develop. And I'm not going to grade their homework and say you got 7 right and 3 wrong, so you're getting a 70. If you did it on time and you put in reasonable effort, you get full credit for having done that homework. Obviously, if you're sick or something else happens, we play with the deadline, but it's really more of a deadline grade than it is a quality of the homework grade. So I'm very excited to be teaching language arts again, and very excited to have your kids, and we'll see who's up next.
Okay, it's Mrs. Leonard again with the math curriculum. So in math, everything spirals. We start off at the 7th grade year learning about number sense, specifically how do you operate with integers, which are your positive and negative whole numbers, and operating with signed fractions and signed decimals. We have started with the rules of addition and for adding integers once again, and then your positive, negative fractions, mixed numbers, and decimal numbers. We're going to be taking our first quiz next week to see how the kids are doing before we move into the rules of subtraction with positive and negatives, and then multiplication and division. From there, we'll be moving to expressions and equations, but yet again, all the material that we've covered prior to that will still be integrated within that curriculum. Everything spirals, as I said, in 7th grade. So they're going to learn to take an algebraic expression and simplify it. They're going to learn how to solve 1-step, 2-step, and multi-step equations for the unknown variable, as well as solving inequalities. And then from there, we'll move into the geometry curriculum, which will once again integrate those expressions, equations, and the number sense from the beginning of the year. So because everything is used in every content area after the fact, it's very important that the kiddos do not fall behind. Math takes practice. They have to complete their practice work. I always compare it to riding a bike. You couldn't ride a bike if you don't ever get on that bike and practice. You're just going to fall over. Well, math takes practice. And if they don't practice, they're going to have a very hard time, and it's going to make it very difficult for the rest of the year. So that's why I do have all this practice work in class, as well as to continue at home when they do not finish that practice work in the classroom. I always start them off. I like the I do, we do, you do approach, whereas I teach them in the class, we do several together, and then they have to try independently. When they do have trouble, I try to remind them all the time they have to come see me for extra help. I'm not a mind reader. I can see from their work pages, you know, when they're having difficulty, and I'll go address it with them. But if they get a problem wrong, they have to raise their hand and ask for help. If they're at home, then they can come see me the next day in advisory. They can see me at lunch. They can see me during opportunity block, but they definitely need to speak up when they're having trouble. Speaking of which, we did do iReady testing this year, and the kiddos have been informed of how they did. And based on that, we are using the iReady program to fill in any gaps. We know there's gaps there, especially with the year and a half that we just had. And so the iReady is what they'll be working on every Friday during our All Cores Day for 45 minutes to fill in the gaps that we found with their iReady testing. It's great. It's individualized. Everybody gets a different pathway. Ask your kiddos about that. They'll explain a little bit more, but it's just filling in any holes that they have from years prior. And last but not least, if you look in the top right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see that the tests and quizzes account for 40% and 30%. So tests are your final assessments, 40% of the grade. Just so you know, those can be reassessed, meaning that they can retake them. We do have a grading protocol here, and they'll receive a contract if they do want to do so, but they can be retaken with a maximum grade of 85% in the 7th grade. For quizzes, those are 30% of the grade. Those are not reassessed. So that's important. If they are having difficulty with a quiz, then they need to come in and see me, because that material will be on the final assessment. So they're kind of just small snippets. As I was saying, the quiz next week is just on the rules of addition. The final assessment will be the rules of addition and subtraction. And last but not least, classwork / homework, they're kind of combined, because normally we start the material in class and they have to finish for homework. That accounts for 30% of their grade. And there's only one other thing I did not mention. Those kiddos that are in pre-algebra, I do have a pre-algebra class in regards to the topics. They're the same topics that I cover in 7th grade, but it also includes the 8th grade curriculum. So I'm covering both 7th and 8th grade in this 1 year for that class period. So it's very fast paced. That one, they really have to keep up with their work, or it's impossible to stay afloat. And that's about it for me.
I am Terry Costa again, and I just wanted to say a couple words about science. This year in science, we're going to be learning about living things. We've started off studying the characteristics and needs that organisms have. We'll also be having a genetics unit this year, some information about how organisms have changed over time, and finishing out the year with ecology. Also, in science class, we're going to be integrating different kinds of tools. Today we were using the electronic scales and the field microscopes. The kids are designing their own experiment right now, trying to figure out how to germinate a seed. So it was fun to watch that in the classroom today and see the kids doing some real hands-on lab. We're also working on our communications and skills in science, being able to talk about what your investigation was and the results that you had and the conclusion that you drew. So we're working on that as well. Thank you.
And I'm James Dion. I'm the 7th grade social studies teacher for the ACEs. This year, we're going to be covering basically thousands of years of history, going from starting in Greece and then working our way up to the age of exploration. During that time, we're going to be looking at different groups, the role of governments, the role of citizens within those governments, talking about power and control, significance of participation, while working on some social studies skills as well, such as timelines, how to read a timeline, mapping, geography, note-taking, speaking efficiently, effectively during presentations, collaborative work as well. We will be covering in social studies because, again, my first word is social, so we need to learn how do we interact as individual people today. The way I break down my classwork is 50%, assessments is 40. Actually, I flip that. It should be assessments at 50%, classwork at 40, and then homework is going to be 10%. And homework is generally going to be a current event type article, so having students look at issues that are currently going on in our world, not just our community, so they're a little bit more knowledgeable about what's happening in the world. And that social studies.
Well, thank you very much for joining us for our open house. If you need to contact any of us, here are our emails. You can always find these on the school directory page as well. And lastly, for anyone who has any special ed questions, you can always contact me, Mr. Sullivan, Adam Sullivan. Thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful evening.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Team Believers. We are excited to share a little bit with you about our team. Our goal in this video is to introduce you to each of our classroom teachers. On this team, I will start with myself. I'm Mrs. McCluskey. I teach science.
And I'm Mr. McCabe. I teach social studies.
I'm Mrs. Welch, and I teach math. I'm Ms. Hutchings. I teach language arts. We also have special education teachers on our team, Mrs. LeBlanc, Mrs. McCarthy, and Ms. Mulhall. This year in science in 7th grade, it's all about life science. So I wanted to take just a brief moment to show you some of the topics that we'll cover. We're focusing on what it means to be alive. So at the beginning of the school year, the students define life. How do we know if something is living? And then we move through the units as we learn about cells and how cells function. We have a really fun unit on genetics and heredity, looking at how you get the traits that you have. One of our favorite units that we do is the body system unit, where we will study the human body in particular, but we will also look at other animals and their body systems as well. We do a unit called Change Over Time, where we look at how organisms have evolved or changed over the long time on Earth. And then finally, we end our year with a unit on ecology. We are so fortunate in science that we have a lot of really great resources for us to use. In particular, I'm going to point out our microscopes. This year, the kids will get some pretty intense work with microscopes, and we have enough microscopes that every student gets to work one-on-one with a microscope. We also have a science textbook. It will not be going home. It will stay in the classroom, but it's a great resource that we use as well throughout the school year.
And for social studies in 7th grade, we focus primarily on European history. We start with a unit on the development of democracy. That's what we're studying right now. So we start in Greece and Athens and look at how democracy developed, and then travel over to Rome and take a look at the Roman Republic. And then that leads us to the Roman Empire. And then we study afterwards the Middle Ages. And then we kind of hit at the end of the year the Renaissance, the Reformation, and the Age of Exploration. Within social studies, one of the things that we do a lot throughout the year is project-based learning to help develop a lot of 21st century skills. And this essentially means that we take a lot of these ideas that we learned about in the past and use them to help. I challenge the students to try and create solutions to modern problems. And then along with all of that, we also will work a lot on skill building with reading, writing skills, and we'll also do some practicing with some speaking and listening as well. In language arts, we focus on 3 main texts. We're starting with Behind the Bedroom Wall by Laurie Williams. It's a book about the Holocaust and a girl who has to decide between her family and what she thinks is right for the country. Each and every day, we'll start with an online journal. This just gets students writing. They lacked in writing a little bit last year due to the pandemic. So just focusing on getting them to write about what they're passionate about and getting words on paper. We'll also work through different types of writing throughout the year. So we'll look at narrative writing, informative writing, and persuasive writing. The others that we'll most likely get to cover are Shadow Club and Double Identity. In my classroom, my expectations are that each day, each student comes prepared. So that's with your materials and your Chromebooks charged along with your charger. Our books will stay in the class, so they don't ever have to worry about carrying around a book. Also to respect each other when we're speaking and sharing, where language arts can be a subjective subject. Others' opinions are often shared. So even if you don't agree with an opinion, I expect students to give each other respect and opportunities to express their thoughts. And I just want them to work hard. Language arts is an opportunity to push yourself and step out of your comfort zone a little bit. So we're really going to focus on reading comprehension and also writing. A typical day in our classroom would begin with an online journal. We get about 15 minutes to write. A prompt could ask a question as simple as, what's your favorite movie? Or it could be a little more in depth about what we're learning in class. And I give students an opportunity to share out loud. This is a great way for students to practice public speaking and also just to share what they're passionate about. We'll then move into an activity. It may be content related, but it also could be something fun like a Kahoot. And then we'll get to read. Students have been awesome about reading out loud, and we get to have a really great class discussion.
All right. In math this year, we'll be covering the same topics that we always have. We'll be looking at expressions and equations. We'll be looking at functions. We'll be spending a little bit more time than usual on our number sense. And we will be using a program that I'm going to speak about in a minute. If your child is ever working on something at home and it seems like they're having a difficult time, please know that they can see me during our academic advisories on Tuesdays or Thursdays. They can see me during opportunity block, anytime that they have opportunity block. they can schedule a time with me at lunch or after school. I really am here for them with all the different things that we have going on in the past year and a half. There is time built into our schedule every day that they should be able to see me, but if that doesn't work, I am here. Please never hesitate to email. So one of the resources that we have to support all the changes that have happened in the past year and a half in education between being hybrid or being remote is a program called iReady. This is the district's first year using this program, so you might start hearing your kids talking about it. All the districts that have used it so far have raved about how wonderful it is. And we are seeing very, very personalized instruction that is designed for each child. So it is really fantastic so far. So the students have already completed a diagnostic assessment for math and language arts, and they then have a program designed for math that looks at where there might be gaps created with the issues that we've been dealing with for COVID. So it's a great program. We're kind of in the beginning phases. We're learning more about it all the time while they're learning about their different topics. We're learning how to use this well, but please reach out if you have any questions about iReady, and I can let you know a little bit more about that.
So technology is a huge part of our teaching and also learning at Timberlane. So with that being said, it is critical that students come with their Chromebooks every single day. They should be charging their Chromebooks the night before so that they come to school with it charged, but they should also bring their chargers in case they need to charge during the day, because we do use them a lot, so the battery can tend to drain. We do use Chromebooks every day, so without a Chromebook, a student may not be able to participate in work in class that day. They can go to the library to check one out, but they are only allowed to do that 3 times. So it's best to have that on hand at all times. Along with technology, we use Google Classroom as a tool to keep students up to date with work and what's going on in the classroom, especially when they're absent. So for students who are absent, they can always access all assignments on Google Classroom. That should be their first step if they're absent, to go to Google Classroom and check to see what they missed that day. That's their first resource. If there are more specific questions, a student should then reach out to their teachers via email. Parents and guardians can also be added to the Google Classrooms to see these daily and weekly summaries of what's going on in the classroom, upcoming events. We have a team page as well that will be talked about a little bit more, but everything can be accessed through Google Classroom.
For communication, just to streamline it as efficiently as possible, I am the team contact person, which essentially means if you have any concerns or anything that are like just generally team related, please feel free to email me, and then I can reach out to the rest of the team and make sure that everybody is aware of any questions or concerns that you might have, or just updates in general about your students. That also means that occasionally if the team has any ideas or concerns about students, I will be the one to reach out, and I will just make sure that it's known that this is coming from the team and not just me personally, that this might be a concern that the entire team has. So if you see emails coming from me, it could be just something that the team has talked about, and we wanted to bring you into that conversation. If you have specific subject or class related questions, that can obviously be directed towards an individual core teacher. So if you're concerned about math or something along those lines, you can contact Mrs. Welch directly instead of going through me on that. We also have a team Google Classroom page that is updated pretty frequently with important announcements, schedules for the week that are coming up, or any schedule changes that might be happening, and anything that's coming from the school that needs to be communicated out. We keep that up to date. All students on the team are already part of that Google Classroom page. But if there's anything that you're unsure about, or if your student is asking about something that's occurring within the school, have them go on Google Classroom to our team page, the 7B Believers page, and they'll probably find the answer on that page as well. And just one more note about Google Classroom. If you are interested in receiving updates from Google about from classroom updates, just send me an email really quickly and just say, hey, can you please add me on as a guardian? And I'll be able to take your email address and get you set up with that as well. So just let me know if you are interested in that.
The next thing I want to talk about is PowerSchool. In terms of getting feedback on student work completion, PowerSchool is a great resource for us. Grades are updated every couple of weeks. So not only will students be turning in assignments through Google Classroom, and grades can be found there as well, but PowerSchool is really going to be your home base. In PowerSchool, you can view each grade individually, and it's really important to know that when you do look at the grades in PowerSchool, you can click on an actual individual grade, and that will actually open up that classroom and show you all the assignments listed and give you specific feedback for each assignment. So it might look something like this. In PowerSchool, there's certain things that we can use for flags to give you some more feedback about the assignment. So sometimes you might see that a student's assignment would say missing and have the little orange flag. Sometimes it might be marked as late. Sometimes it's exempt if it's something that we're not going to count towards their grade. You can also see that in PowerSchool, we sometimes will put comments attached to scores, and you'll see a little box with some lines in it, and that will show you the feedback from the teacher. So this is a really great resource for us to be frequently communicating with you about progress in our classes. And of course, at any time, I always tell the students, please check in with your teachers if you see a discrepancy. Maybe they notice there's a grade that wasn't updated or that is incorrect. Please, we always ask for them to come to us. As parents and guardians, we also encourage you, reach out if you have any questions with regards to your students' work. And then in addition to, grades and everything else that we do in 7th grade, we wanted to make sure we took a moment to go over with you kind of just a general feel for what our schedule looks like. So at the middle school, we operate on a block schedule, just like at the high school, and we have A and B day classes. So here is a kind of rough breakdown of the schedule. On A day, we'll see 2, we call them core classes. So this is when your child might have math, social studies, science, or language arts. They will also go to unified arts classes. Those are their UAs. They have a reading block called extension. And then every other day, we alternate between world language and opportunity block classes. So students will see over the course of 2 days, all 4 of their core teachers. So again, language arts, social studies, math, and science. Now on Fridays, when there is a 5-day week or a 3-day week even, that doesn't happen very often, typically on a 5-day week, we have what we call a skinny schedule. And in this schedule, the students will see all of their core classes on that one day. So instead of having a 1.5-hour block class, they'll just have a 45-minute class. The advantage of us having a skinny Friday on 5-day weeks is that students get to see their teachers 3 times in 1 week, which is really a nice benefit for all of us.
And lastly, just before we wrap things up, considering the past couple of years have brought on a lot of extra challenges, especially with educating the children, and now parents and guardians have had to take on a much larger role, especially through last year with remote learning. We just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for supporting our school, for supporting your children's learning. The common saying of it takes a village to raise a child, I think, has really come into play quite a bit these past couple of years. So we thank you for taking the time to view this. Please contact us with any concerns or any questions that you might have. We're happy to help. And we hope to have a great year. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, and welcome to the 7 Chameleons. Welcome to our open house. Our agenda for the evening is to introduce the teachers, talk about the day in the life of a 7th grader, OpBlock, Google Classroom, communication, and class curriculum. I'm Jane Berrigan, and I teach language arts.
And I am Christine Paradis. I teach social studies.
I'm Nancy Lovett, and I teach mathematics.
And my name is Bill Yorston, and I teach science. We also have two special ed teachers on the team, Ms. Zeff and Ms. DeBesh, our paraprofessional.
So first of all, we're going to start with the day in the life of a chameleon and sort of run you through the day that your child has to deal with. So on the screen, if you notice, our day begins at 7:30 with advisory. The kids have all been broken up into advisories, and they have an advisor who has less than 10 other kids from the team, so we can sort of monitor how things are going. We then will move on to core 1. If it is an A day, it's core 3 on a B day. That's a 90-minute block, which ends at 9:25. We always include a mask break into our first core because it is 90 minutes and it's a pretty long time to just be sitting there. The kids then go to their UAs, depending on whether it's an A day or a B day. They go to a variety of different places in the building. They again come back on team for an extension block, and we are currently reading the book Crash by Jerry Spinelli orally on Thursdays and Fridays, and then on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, they silent read during this time period. 11:20 rolls around, and it's now time for op block or world language, again, depending on whether it's an A day or a B day. If the child goes to op block, they could be getting some special help in math. They could be going to a reading class. They could be going to another class in science or whatever, or world language. Then at 12:15, we do core 2 or core 4, again, depending on what day. This class is split, and we have lunch at 1:01. You notice the 7th grade lunches are right there on the bottom of the screen. It's a really long day for your kids to not have anything to eat. So please feel free to pack them a snack, and we do a mass break during opportunity block as well. So they have a couple of times during the morning to have a snack before they go to lunch. And that's the day in the life of a community.
So opportunity block is works A and B days like everything else. So they can get extra help in any of their core classes if they need it. All students have been assigned to a core teacher during this time, so we can take attendance. And as Mrs. Berrigan said, it is also a time for us to take a mask break. So it is a good time for the kids to get outside usually, and we encourage them to have a snack and encourage them to bring water with them so they have that throughout the day.
A little bit about grades and assignments. Power School, there's a lot of confusion between Power School and Google Classroom. And Power School will show the grades that your students receive on their assignments. And Google Classroom shows the assignments that they are working on. So if you want to check grades, always check Power School. And for missing assignments and whatnot, you can check Google Classroom. When students log in, it is their first initial, last name, and then their password is their student ID / lunch number. A lot of the kids remember it that way, followed by ABC. If you want to log in, just ask your child. They should know their passwords.
One final thing, you can get to Power School through the parent portal, but only students can get to Google Classroom. So you need to go through the student portal to get to Google Classroom. In Google Classroom, this is where you will find classwork and homework assignments. If they need a copy of the assignment, they can find it here. If they're unsure of when due dates are, this is a good place to check. And of course, when they're absent, you should encourage them at home to hop onto Google Classroom, check to see what's going on, check to see what assignments might be there, and see what they can do to get caught up. Don't forget to check the Team Chameleons page. We do have a separate page for that for any important news or announcements that happen to come up.
So, language arts. Language arts is basically a writing class and a reading class. We explore different types of writing. The first thing that I will be working on with the kids is called constructive responses. We call it RAP. It is responding to a question. We teach them this acronym RAP for responding, repeating the question, answering the question, providing evidence, and proofreading. We then will do a piece of narrative writing, probably later in the year, argument writing, 5-paragraph essays, and they're always writing in their daily journals. And all of the information about daily journals is right in Google Classroom, as Mr. Yorston was talking about. It talks about how they are graded. It talks about the expectations. We will also be reading novels. We have begun Behind the Bedroom Wall, which is a novel about the Holocaust, 1942, Germany. All work is graded on both content and conventions. And luckily, my team also does that on science labs. Mr. Yorston will also check for conventions. Super important that the kids learn early on that they need to write correctly. So that's language arts.
The math curriculum, we will be doing a lot with number sense. That will take up most of the year, where we study integers and rational numbers. Currently, we are working on adding rational numbers, and you'll often hear the kids refer to their new best friend in 7th grade as their negative sign. That is the big change in math this year, is working with negative numbers. After we do that, we will proceed to working with solving equations and expressions. And then we go to proportionality, and we finish our year with geometry, where we are talking about the area and perimeter of 2-dimensional figures, surface area and volume, and then we end with angle relationship.
In science this year, we started off this year talking about what exactly is life and defining what life happens to be. We are currently looking at the characteristics of organisms, meaning all organisms, whether it be single-celled organisms, multicellular organisms, plants, animals. What do they all have in common? And that really tries to answer the question, what is life? How do you identify it? What are their needs? Needs meaning their needs in the environment itself. We're currently working on an experiment. We just started one this week where they are creating a controlled experiment and testing the germination of a seed, knowing that seeds are plants and they have specific needs. Pick one of those variables, change that variable, and take some data, and at the end of the lab, process that data. And this is where Ms. Berrigan was talking about content and conventions and communication. It's very important that the students then take this data, and in their conclusion, that's the part where I'm looking at content and conventions, being able to communicate their findings to the outside world, being able to answer the question, why did that happen? Because. And in the because statement, they have to provide evidence to back that up. We'll be taking a look at cells, cell structure, function. We'll be talking about genetics, which is a lot of fun. Some of us can roll our tongue, some of us can't. We'll be looking at our earlobes, and some of us have specific genes that allow for these specific characteristics in our anatomy. We'll talk about evolution and the evolution of different things. And an animal anatomy. We'll get into animal anatomy, but mostly about ourselves, because students can really relate to who they are and what are we made of? How are all of the parts put together to create this living thing? The digestive system, the circulatory system, the respiratory system, and how does it work together and function? At the end of the year, we're going to hit a little bit on ecology and our impact on the world. This year, we'll be using a lot of tools, models. We'll be drawing models, building models. Like I said, conducting some scientific investigations using the scientific method, and the all-important part of written and verbal communication and getting that outside, getting that idea to the outside world.
Social studies is my area, and our units of study involve mostly European history, the geography of Europe. We talk about the origins of democracy, meaning in Greece, ancient Rome, which leads us into also the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, and we finish with exploration.
You can always reach us at any one of these email addresses that you see up here. You can also access any of these emails through the Timberlane website. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the presentation and we enjoy working with your children.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
And go. Good afternoon. We are Team Atlas. We are going to give you each a little overview of our content for the year. So I'm going to start. My name is Darlene Schmidt. I teach social studies. This year we're covering US history. We started off with a unit on the Constitution. And when that is over, we're going to go into the age of exploration, which will turn into the 13 colonies. From that point, we're going to go into the Revolutionary War, which will turn into the new nation. And then we'll start into westward expansion and manifest destiny. If time permits, hopefully we'll get to some part of the Civil War, but that all depends on how quickly the year goes through. And that would be your child's social studies curriculum for the 8th grade year. Up next, we will have language arts.
Good afternoon, parents. My name is Donna Beretti. I am your child's language arts teacher. Our themes for this year in language arts are people, passions, and perspectives. We're currently reading memoirs. We're learning how to annotate text and support our thinking with evidence from the text and nonfiction. Then we'll move into the theme of redemption, where we'll study classic literature. In particular, we'll be reading A Christmas Carol. And we'll finish the year with justice and studying the elements of drama, particularly with 12 Angry Men. We'll also weave in a little bit of poetry throughout the year. My goal is to help your child find his or her voice through poetry. One of the things that I want to make very clear about this year is that we're making the shift from learning how to read and write to reading and writing to learn. We do require a 3-reading binder to be kept in the classroom. So if your child does not have a 3-reading binder at this time, I am respectfully asking that we get one for your child. So that's about it for language arts in 8th grade. And now we're going over to science with Mr. Runyons.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Jeff Runyons. I'm the science teacher. This year, we're going to be covering 3 basic units. The first starting with space systems, where we just began the Big Bang Theory. We're going to take more of a zoom-in approach, going more towards galaxies, solar systems, all the forces in between, finalizing with the Earth, Moon, Sun system. We'll be going into weather and climate at that point. For trimester 2, and then trimester 3, we're going to be focusing on Earth systems, constructive forces, destructive forces. This year is going to be sprinkled with a lot of different activities, experiments, and a lot of engineering as well. So looking forward to a productive year. And next we have math.
Hello.
I'm Jen Atlas. This year we're going to be covering 3 major areas: solving equations, linear equations, and a little bit of geometry, where we'll touch on transformations, angles, and volume. Just a reminder that your students should be bringing headphones to class with them, a notebook for some loose paper and pencils, and that they will probably have homework most days that they have class. Next up is Ms. Lazier. Ms. Lazier.
Hi, I'm Maggie Lazier. I am the special education teacher on Team Atlas. Those of you who have students on my caseload, I will be holding meetings. I run Learning Center to support them and work on their skills and goals. And I also help support the students in the class. Those of you who don't have students on my caseload, I am looking forward to also getting to know them in my time on the team.
Hello, Team Constituents, parents. Welcome to our open house.
We wanted to take a few moments of your time just to introduce ourselves, talk a little bit about what we'll be doing this year in our classes, and also just give you some helpful information about how our team works and how it works up here in 8th grade. So let's start it off with Mrs. Bolio, who is our science teacher.
Hi, I'm Nicole Bollier. I'm the science teacher for Team Constituents. We're going to start the year with space science, going from the universe, heading on into galaxies to sun, earth, moon sciences. Then we'll talk about weather and climate and earth systems.
Elaine's going to go next.
Sorry, I have to unmute myself. I'm Elaine Bennett. I'm the language arts teacher on the team. We have a really busy year planned. We are starting the year off with people, passions, and perspectives. We have that as our topic. So our themes are all going to be surrounded with, by that topic. We will be having nonfiction as our focus for our genre. We are going to be starting book clubs. So hopefully you'll hear about that from your student, ask them what book they're reading. And we're going to be doing a lot of writing. That will be a big focus. We're also focusing on how we present our writing so that we are ready to go up to high school when the time comes, and that we have a good solid foundation before we leave. Yeah, trimester 2 is going to be a topic of redemption, and that's when we do the classic A Christmas Carol. We've been doing that for over 20 years here. It is it's a rite of passage for 8th grade, and hopefully we will be going to A Christmas Carol, which is the big 8th grade field trip. That is the plan, and we will obviously have to play that by ear. And then we finish up the year with our justice unit, and that is when we do the classic play 12 Angry Men. And that is a particular favorite of kids because we have our guest judge. He's a federal judge in New Hampshire, Joe LaPlante. He comes in and he runs our kids through jury duty selection. So we bring the outside in to make everything more authentic, and it's really wonderful. We have a great time in ELA. So now I'll pass it over to Mrs. Brooke LaMonica, our math teacher.
Hello, you guys. So I'm teaching math and algebra this year. And in math, we're going to be doing pre-algebra, just to kind of brush up on pre-algebra skills, getting them ready for algebra next year. We're also going to do like some geometry units and some equation stuff and some maybe statistics at the end of the year. Then in algebra, we're focusing on the Algebra 1 high school. It's an actual high school class. So it's equations, inequalities, functions, exponents, polynomials, factoring, good stuff. Also, at the end, I'm just going to say at the end of this presentation, we're going to post like a little slide presentation for all of you guys to watch to learn more. So what I'm saying this is because my grading policies will be on that, that information when we post it. Okay, so I'm going to pass it along to the next person, who's Mrs. Hatch.
Hi, Team Constituents parents. I'm Mrs. Hatch. I teach social studies, and in the 8th grade, students are finally diving into United States history and government. So currently, for the month of September, we have been examining the United States Constitution and really getting kids to understand the rules that we live by in our country, all 7 articles of the Constitution, and now we're actually diving into the Bill of Rights and the other 17 amendments. Once we're finished with that, we're going to dive right into history and start studying colonization, eventually the causes of the Revolutionary War, the Revolutionary War itself, and then we're really going to get into the westward expansion of our country and the causes of the Civil War and the Civil War as well. So we really study a nice chunk of United States history from about 1607 all the way to 1865, and that will set up the foundation for students to go to the high school and study government and economics as a freshman and do a little bit more depth with government. And also by 11th grade, they're going to be studying the second half of United States history. So I look forward to working with you and having a successful school year.
Great. How about Miss Kelly? Are you gonna, you can chime in and introduce yourself? Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Kelly. There we go.
Good morning. My name is Kelly Noyes. I work on this fabulous team with these fabulous ladies. I support the special ed department. I also support all the students in each of the classrooms. I am also the recess and lunch monitor during their time frame. So unfortunately, we do have a late lunch. Our lunch starts at 12:10, so the kids are typically very hungry. So we do advise them to bring plenty of snacks. But you will find me on the team running from room to room and working very closely with the special ed department and Tracy DeMarco. And I can always be reached. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
And last but not least is Tracy DeMarco.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Tracy DeMarco. I'm the special education teacher for the team. And my main role is just to, educate the students on their IEP awareness, because knowledge is power, to develop and assist with their communication, self-advocacy, and executive functioning skills, to hopefully help them transition to high school and become independent learners. What I do run is learning centers. They're differentiated small group instruction that's based off of the IEP goals. Halfway through, time's given to review core assignments and to just get some additional support. And then it's strongly based off of self-assessments and just constant reflection. And that's it. And you can always reach me via email. Thank you.
So now we're going to go in a circle and talk about some team policies and things you guys would want to know about what's going on our team and what our expectations are. So we'll start with Ms. Bollier.
One of the things that we have is opportunity block. That's the time that the students can get help from their teachers. We do want the students to get a pass from their teacher that they want to see that day. But we have opportunity block the days that they don't have world language. They can come see us anytime for extra help during that time. One of the policies that we do have is cell phones. Cell phones are a huge distraction and they are not allowed in the classroom. So the students are supposed to put the cell phones in their lockers. And if we do see the student with the cell phone out in class, we ask that they put them in the locker. They know this rule. We've talked about this rule many times. And they are able to check their cell phones between classes, but if they are repeat offenders and their cell phones have been found in the class multiple times, we send them to administration to talk about keeping the cell phone away and not a distraction in the class.
Thanks. Elaine, would you like to tell us about encouraging kids to email?
I sure will. I have spent a little over a week now talking with kids about the importance of different reasons we write. We write for different audiences and different purposes. One of the purposes we write is self-advocacy, when we need to alert somebody in a professional academic way that perhaps we need help, or we need makeup work, or we're going on vacation, any of these reasons. So we have spent the last week and a half, maybe even 2 weeks, crafting proper emails. So we're really encouraging kids now to use this skill, because they'll carry it with them through high school, through college, when they get their first jobs. People communicate using email. And so we've really worked hard on that. So when your child has a question,
if at all possible, if you don't personally need to talk to us, please encourage the child to reach out to us via email and use those skills we've been practicing. It will help to get the encouragement at home as well as here to not only reach out and ask for what you want yourself. It will help them grow in every way. It's a rite of passage, and we would really appreciate if you would help us at home, encourage them to email us when they have questions. That would be great.
Okay.
And yeah, and of course, I just want to say, if you need to, any parent needs to reach out to us, we check our emails every day. That is a quick way to get a hold of us. And we appreciate, working together as a team with the parents on our team.
Thank you. I'm going to talk about makeup work. So last year, you know how we all had COVID, and our administrators encouraged us to accept work basically anytime, because it was difficult for kids and we all understood the struggles. And so we accepted late work, like really late, like even as far as like the end of the trimester. But that's all different now that we're in person. We don't want to accept, I mean, we'd love to, but we want to teach the kids that they need to do their work in a timely manner. So usually a couple of classes late after that, it's not going to be counted. So in my class, I'm sure in the others too, it's 2 class periods you get to make up work, unless you were absent for being sick or something, then that's a different story. But so the kids are encouraged to get their work in on time. The other thing is we have multiple assignments throughout the week dealing with kids using their devices, their Chromebook, and they need earbuds to bring they need to have earbuds at school with them. So a lot of kids leave them at home and then they have to go down to the library and get a pair. So what we encourage is maybe just buy like a less expensive pair of headphones and or earbuds and have the kids keep them in their locker. And if this is a financial hardship, I'm sure we can work something out for you guys. The last thing I'm going to talk about is some kids have been bringing in these energy drinks into our classes, and basically the only thing that's allowed in our classes is just water, because if the energy drink spills or it gets all over and it's very sticky. So it's also probably not good for them. So water is really the only drink that is allowed in our classes. And that is all I'm going to talk about right now. So we'll go to Leanne. Yeah.
Hi, so just want to talk about 2 important methods of communicating assignments and assignment completion. So all of us are very aware, and I'm sure you are aware, that Google Classroom is one of the ways that we communicate the assignments. And in addition to homework, we also communicate what we do in class on a daily basis on Google Classroom. So parents can join our Google Classrooms. We can invite you to our Google Classrooms if you wish to get notifications about assignments. You can feel free to email us and we can certainly add you onto that. But we do, as 8th graders, want to see kids utilizing Google Classroom independently and becoming more aware of how to kind of juggle all of their classes, and make sure they're checking that regularly so that any assignments under classwork that are assigned through Google Classroom are turned in on time. So we use that all throughout the school. The kids are highly trained in it over the last 2 years, and it's really our major method of communicating what goes on in class every day and what is assigned. However, not every assignment that we assign is necessarily under classwork on Google Classroom. So we are kind of transitioning back into some paper assignments here and there. The most of us try to post as much as possible a copy of the paperwork on Google Classroom as well for those students that may be out sick or be home for some reason. So Google Classroom is your best friend. That's what we tell the kids, to make sure that they're aware of what is going on in the classroom. In addition to Google Classroom, our kind of our student information system that we use here at school is PowerSchool. And unfortunately, Google Classroom and PowerSchool don't talk to each other. We kind of wish that they would sometimes, because you know, if you graded an assignment on Google Classroom, it would be so nice if that assignment automatically was put into PowerSchool as far as what the score is. So sometimes, you know, it will take us a couple of days to put an assignment into PowerSchool, but most of us update our grades at least once a week. So it's a great way to see how your student is doing, if they're missing any work, if they're falling behind in any way, or you know, if they're doing really well. So we do encourage parents to take a look at their child's PowerSchool. If you don't know how to access PowerSchool, if you're new to the district or it's something you've just never been in the habit of, we can support you in that if you want to send us an email or send our guidance counselor an email as well. But PowerSchool is another important communication tool that all of us should be checking at least once a week. And we really encourage our students to check that during opportunity block or any type of time that they have in their day to kind of keep track of their assignments and what they've submitted. So Google Classroom and PowerSchool are two things we encourage you as parents to really check regularly.
Hi, in regards to, you know, what we'll be heavily working on this year is doing lots of little mini lessons on executive functioning, you know, metacognition, the whole process of them, you know, really thinking about thinking, right? And you know, we're going to be teaching them what it looks like, or some tools for studying, for tracking assignments, for, you know, just coming up with the plan. And you know, they're gonna get lots of examples. They're gonna choose a plan. We'll reflect on that plan. How's it going? Setting goals each trimester, just to help them to be able to self-advocate and to be fully invested in their learning. You know, doing PowerSchool checks because, you know, their grades should be most important to them. And I encourage this at home as well. You know, maybe once a week I sit down with my sons and just, you know, sit down with them and have them pull up Google Classroom or PowerSchool and kind of look at it together, just to kind of engage in those same conversations that we're having here. You know, what plan are you using to track assignments? How's that going? Maybe have them show you it. And again, just, you know, letting them be the first ones to reach out and communicate to teachers via email. You know, that's just going to be a useful tool in life for them. So that's what we'll be working on. Thanks.
So that's a brief overview of Team Constituents, and we want to thank you for sitting through this with us and meeting us. Again, please feel free to reach out if you have any concerns or questions, because we will work better as a team, parents, teachers, and students. We always have the greatest success when we can all be a team and help each other have the best year of your child's middle school year. We want them leaving 8th grade feeling like this was a great experience, and it is definitely within our reach if we all work together. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful day.
Hello, Team Bravo families. Welcome to the 2021-2022 school year. I am Brian Attardo. I am your children's social studies teacher, and I'd like to welcome you to the presentation of Team Bravo. All of our team teachers will speak in turn and kind of let you know what's going on inside their classrooms and what your kids are experiencing every day here at school. So to jump right in social studies this year, we're going to cover a number of different topics from early American history leading up into the Civil War. So we're going to go over the colonization of the 13 colonies up through the Revolutionary War, touch upon the Constitution, and continue on to westward expansion and into the Civil War. And through this social studies curriculum, we're going to spend a lot of time focusing on why this is important and why it's relevant to our lives today, not simply focusing on just rote memorization of dates and facts. Try to get to the next level thinking and really challenge our students to make those connections with all of the things that happened in the past and how they relate to where we are today as a country. So that's what we will be learning in social studies. But on top of that, I wanted to touch upon some of the resources that are available, not only to your students, but to you. And I encourage everybody to use them and as we navigate through the year. So Google Classroom is always a great resource. You will find all the information that you need for your students, whether assignments, information, anything class related can be found in the Google Classroom page for each one of your students' classes. So I highly recommend that you check that regularly as a way to kind of keep track and keep on top of what's happening at school, assignments, upcoming assessments, things of that nature. In addition to that, PowerSchool is a great way to keep on top of graded assignments. That way, you and your student is aware of what has been graded, what is due, and it kind of gives a good gauge of where they stand at any given time academically. So without further ado, I will hand you over to Ms. Cameron, and she will discuss her science curriculum.
Right. Hi, everyone. I am Corey Cameron, and as Brian just said, I am the science teacher on Team Bravo this year. We cover 3 main units here in science class, and the first one is astronomy, which we are in the middle of right now, learning about constellations and trying to answer the question of just how big is space and how did everything get there. After we finish up our astronomy unit, we will move into weather and climate, and we will finish out the year in 3rd trimester talking about Earth systems and kind of do our rocks and minerals. Oh, my classroom's on timer, 1 second. Okay, the challenge of being in my classroom without the students moving around. So as I was saying, we will finish out the year with our Earth Systems unit talking about geology and more of the kind of rocks and minerals that most people associate with Earth science. This year, we're really focusing on skills, not just the content. So things like developing models, we're going to return to over and over this year, teaching students to be able to support and refute claims. So our content is kind of the vehicle to really work on those science skills that students were introduced to in 6th grade, they practiced again in 7th grade, and then we kind of try to drive home in the 8th grade. They will also be using all of those same skills when they head up to the high school next year. In addition to science class, I wanted to let you know that the best way to contact any one of the team teachers this year is going to be through email. Our email addresses can be located on the Timberlane Regional Middle School website. If you click on staff directory and scroll down until you see Team Bravo, you will be able to find all of us and our email addresses. We try to check them as regularly as possible. Obviously, it's difficult while we are teaching, but we will get back to you as soon as we are able to. All right, and now I'm going to pass you on to Ms. McGurk.
Thank you. I'm Kathleen McGurk, and I teach math and Algebra 1. And we are finding this year that we've got lots of gaps in math, and we've got a plan to tackle all of that. Part of the big plan this year is, if I talk just about math and Algebra 1, I'll talk about that separately if you don't mind. So math, we're finding a lot of gaps from the COVID year, and that's actually our main focus this year, is closing the gaps. Your children have taken an iReady test, and we've got the results of those. We've shared those with your kids, which has helped them kind of open their eyes as to what kind of work they have in store for them to get back up to grade level. And it can happen, but it's going to take a lot of effort on their part to want to try and to close that gap. Through hard work. We're doing iReady lessons that are individualized for each student based on how they tested. So we're going to focus a lot on that this year. But on top of that, we are doing straight 8th grade math curriculum. That's what they're getting tested on in terms of their grade. Their iReady testing is sort of a resource to get them up to 8th grade level if they're not at that grade level right now. So in terms of getting the 8th grade math curriculum accomplished successfully this year, a lot of the students are going to need extra help, and it's vitally important that they take us up on coming to advisory on Tuesdays and Thursdays for academic advisory, come to op block when they have op block. They can also, get extra help in the math class. They can see Jen Kentelly after school on Wednesdays for extra help. I'll be around after cross-country season after school to help with that. And so there's lots of ways for your child to make sure that they're working at 8th grade level. Now, Algebra 1, what we're doing is we're actually working on a 9th grade curriculum, and we're going to communicate throughout the year to make sure that they're staying right at the 9th grade level, which I'm sure everything will be fine. It's a little bit more challenging, obviously, because they're working at a more intense pace, an accelerated pace, and the material is a little bit more challenging, but I think we'll be fine. So a couple of things I wanted to talk about that are fun in 8th grade. This year, one of the things that our team does, well, the whole 8th grade does, is we have a 8th grade field trip Christmas Carol. And we go to, I believe, either Portsmouth or North Shore Theater for that event. And the kids get dressed up and it's really fun. And the whole team, regardless of what we teach, we all get into it together. So, and that's coming up in December. And so there'll be more information coming out about that. But that's our big highlight of the end of the 2021 year. And then in 2022, we're going to start picking their high school classes. And I know it sounds very quick, but we're making decisions right now as we speak as to where they probably will fit in best in high school in terms of accelerated or not accelerated, in terms of, extra help classes, interests, maybe engineering, art classes. We'll explore all of that at the end of this year and the beginning of next year. And I think that's it. I'm going to pass you off to Jen Kentelly, our LA teacher.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Cantelli, the language arts teacher. We are off to a great start in language arts. The kids are doing great. We have started with the outsiders, and it seems like a lot of the kids are really into the book, and that makes me so happy to see. Like math, we are seeing big gaps in the reading this year because of the last 2 years of the pandemic. So like in math, they did take the iReady test, and they will be working at their level with their skills. So it's completely individualized so we can make that growth. But along with math, we are grading at an 8th grade level. So it is going to be challenging, and it's going to be much quicker because we have to get them ready for high school, like Mrs. McGurk had said. So that leads me to, if we have an assessment coming up, please encourage your kiddos to come see me. I'm available during advisory and op block and lunch and after school. I'm always there to help. But the day of the assessment is too late. They need to have that time, that practice beforehand. This year, our focus in reading will be 3 themes: justice, redemption, and passions, people, and perspectives. And so I think they're going to enjoy the selections we have for them. And this year in writing, I am going to focus mainly on essays to get them ready for the high school, and revision this year. For the last 7 years, I've been working on editing, but this year we're really going to work on revising our writing. So that will be challenging, I'm sure. Just to end, I want to say the kiddos have been great with the masks. I know nobody likes them, and they are doing great, and they really enjoy their masks too. So it's nice to see them outside without them on, so we can see them and see them smile. So on that note, I will send you over to Mrs. Hendershot.
Hello, 8th grade families. I'm Elizabeth Hendershot. I'm a special education teacher on the team. And I have worked with a lot of you last year in 7th grade when I was case manager there. And I transitioned up to 8th grade this year. So it's nice that I'm familiar with a lot of the students on my caseload. Some of the other students, I maybe did not have them on my caseload, but worked with them in specialized programs. Again, I will be in the classroom, all for content. along with my paraeducator, Travis Burnham, who will be speaking next. And I also work with many students in specialized programs, math learning centers, reading fluency, reading comprehension, and writing during extension blocks and off blocks. So we will be communicating. Please feel free to reach out to me if there's any issues, concerns, anything coming up where your student may be absent from school. Please reach out to me, and I will be in communication with you and also with the team daily. And really excited for this 8th grade year back in person with everyone. And I think we're going to have a great year. Now I'm going to pass you over to Travis Burnham.
Hello, Team Bravo families. I am Travis Burnham. I am Mrs. Hendershot's paraprofessional. I help out in the classrooms. I'm there for the core classes, and I'm available if any child needs help with anything. I'm always willing to help out with any problems they have in class. I also take the kids down to recess and to lunch. I participate in Mrs. Hendershot's reading fluency and math programs that take place during extension, OPLOC, and first UA on 8 days. And I hope that we all have a great year, and thank you for watching.